Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Derek Yale. Derek Yale.
No fronting, can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something, let it be no fronting.
We feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions, and this panel comes with different styles in discussing national issues.
I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
If you are living a glass hot, don't throw stone.
No fronting, can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you again for joining us here at the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And as you know, Lrtn is a local media institution based right here in Northeast Philadelphia, and we just recently have our operating office in Liberia as we speak. And before we go any further, let me firstly encourage you to please follow this network on Facebook and also follow us on YouTube as well. And LRT Internet is proud to present episode 4, season 4 of the Horizon. And I'm playing host tonight. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm here with my co-host from Liberia, Mr. David Tarkman. Mr. David Tarkman, how you doing?
Derek, good evening.
How's the area there in Liberia, David?
Yeah, it's cool. Library is cool. I just and everybody just talking. Elections are just few days away. So everybody's talking. Everybody just enthusiastic and wanting the day to reach as soon as possible so they can cast their votes.
Good, David. And it's pretty much this is we're having a cold weather over here, so we're spending most time indoor. But guys, to those of
Okay.
you watching us, this is the Hard Zone. Here is the Hard Zone is an opinion-based talk show that features a team of panelists from diverse perspectives, political ideologies, and different political institutions. And just speak by way of disclaimer, the opinions and positions that will be profiled on the Horizon is not the official position or opinion of the network, but that of the individual panelists that will be offering those opinions. There's no gimmick, no fluff, just real talk. That's why we go back on the Horizon, and LRTN is here, we're there, and we are everywhere. Just to give you an idea of what to expect on this episode, we will, of course, bring you our current event shortly, our current event from Liberia, and then we'll bring you our current event from the diaspora. We'll have our panelists talk briefly about our current event, one of our current event topics, and then we will take a break. When we come back, we will get right into talking about the writ of mandamus filed by the Unity Party against the Election Commission, and we will have our legal professional here to balance our conversation as far as legality is concerned. And also, we will get into all around politics in Liberia. We will be talking about some statement made by the former vice president, Jose Yemabuaka. We will also talk about a statement from Tiawan Gonkler from the Liberian People's Party as well. So we will have a lot to talk about. So we'll briefly introduce our panelists and then bring you the current event. You know what? Let's bring you the current event first, and then we will introduce our panelists. So, guys, again, before I go to David to ask for his current event from Liberia, I would like to encourage you to please share this program on your Facebook page and also follow this network. Encourage your friends and family to do the same and let them join us tonight and have a very, very interesting conversation. But for now, let me join our co host tonight, Mr. David Talkwick. Can you bring us the current event coming out of Liberia?
So, Derek, good evening again and good evening to everyone. What is on top of the current events here is the recent statement by U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken warning individual politicians and their supporters against undermining the electoral process in Liberia. And Blinken in a statement said, anyone dares undermining the democratic process will face U.S. visa restriction, and such restriction would also affect their family members. The statement comes amidst growing wave of suspicions of attempt by the where government in connivance with the National Elections Commission to rig the pending October 10 presidential and legislative elections. Chief Justice Shana Yu has warned the National Elections Commission to be careful in rendering decisions on election complaints brought before it by political parties and others. Chief Justice Yu on Wednesday told a gathering at the 3 day high level national conference on electoral integrity that before NEC takes decisions, it should take notice of public records within its custody. Justice Yu said the Supreme Court will not render any decision as a result of being bullied, intimidated, threatened, or coerced. With less than 2 weeks to the October 10 legislative and presidential elections, the National Elections Commission has announced the arrival in the country of ballot boxes or ballot papers. NEC, in a statement early this week, said the ballot papers were brought from Ghana. The statement said the ballot papers are stored in a well secured warehouse and are expected to be deployed across the country soon. And finally, United Party standard bearer Joseph Boakai has opened another Pandora box. He has got people, particularly officials and supporters of the governing CDC, talking following his recent comments that the country Liberia will come to an end if the CDC reach the pending elections. Quite recently, Joseph Boakai made another statement informing the Liberian people that it is not CDC alone that has monopoly over violence. President Weah himself has reacted to the former vice president comments, assuring Liberians that there will never be checkpoints erected across the country again as a result of another round of gun violence. Derek, those are the latest developments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tagwe, for the splendid delivery of the current events coming out of Liberia. And guys, before I bring you the current event coming out of the diaspora, let me encourage you again to please follow this network on Facebook. That is the Liberia Radio and Television Network, and also on YouTube. And please do us a favor, share this program on your individual social media pages. Do so on Facebook. To bring you the current events here in the diaspora, I'd like to begin with the United States halting foreign assistance to Gabon after the August 30th coup. The United States is pausing certain foreign assistance programs to the government of Gabon following last month's coup. The Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, said in a statement released by the Department of State on Tuesday. The pause will continue while we, that is the U.S., evaluate the unconstitutional intervention by members of the country's military. Blinken said, adding that the move is in line with the steps taken by the Economic Community of Central African States and the African Union. The U.S. will nevertheless continue operational activities in the country, including diplomatic and consular operations supporting U.S. citizens. The new military government has promised to oversee free and fair elections, but has not given a precise timetable for organizing them. And we have to extend credit, obviously, to Al Jazeera for this development. And we will now move on to our next development as far as the diaspora current event is concerned. CNN is reporting that the House Republicans kick off their first impeachment inquiry hearing today, laying out the allegations they will pursue against President Joe Biden. Though their expert witnesses acknowledge Republicans don't yet have the evidence to prove the accusations they are leveling. Thursday's hearing in the House Oversight Committee didn't include witnesses who could speak directly to Hunter's Biden foreign businesses dealing at the center of the inquiry, but the hearing offered Republicans the chance to show some of the evidence they have uncovered. And for the record, none of the evidence has shown that Joe Biden received any financial benefit from his son's business dealings. But Republicans said at Thursday's hearing that they have found so far what they have found so far has given them the justification to launch their impeachment inquiry. And according to CNN, and there are some things to look forward to while this impeachment trial continues, that the GOP witnesses say not yet enough evidence to impeach Biden, and also GOP maps are questions that they want to answer, and also news opinions being issued for bank records and witnesses' testimony frustrating some Republicans. That's all we have for you on our current event from the diaspora. We will now welcome our panelists, and we would like to have them talk about their take on the U.S. Secretary press statement that was announcing our current event coming out of Liberia. So, David, when we introduce our panelists, you can actually moderate that with them. But I would like to have our panelists on the screen, and while they are coming up, if you're watching us, this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network bringing to you another episode of the Horizon. And we are here we're about to talk about the press statement coming from the U.S. Secretary of State. And we encourage you to please share the program and have your friends and family join us so that we can have or benefit from this discussion. And I can see on the screen, Blue J Charlie. If you're with us, welcome to the Horizon episode 4, season 4. Blue J Charlie.
Yes, welcome again. I hope I'm audible, and to the audience and the fellow panelists.
You have to wear the CDC, the thing that look like some mosquito police uniform before you speak on the screen.
Well, we're on the battlefield right now. I'm in Nima County, in a local village outside Ganta City. So we're on the battlefront.
I think will be hot on you on 11. You are hard about force.
This bitch, I think I hear.
I'm in a village, so nothing wrong with that, man.
Well, Bishop Hagar is here, and I'm excited to see all my colleagues here tonight, and I hope we'll have some wonderful discussion.
I'm sure looking forward. Go ahead, David.
Jawin Ken, your opening statement.
Okay, guys. Good evening. It is nice to be back. Liberia is about to elect a new president. We should all be respectful to each other and allow the system to play out to see who becomes the winner of the October 10, 2023 elections. Thank you, everybody.
Ms.
Thank
Gua?
you. Go ahead.
Ms. Gua, let's hear from you.
My name is Mistress Grace Gore, and I also am a Liberian. And I thank you guys for inviting me here tonight. And I'm very happy concerning the statement that was made by the press from the United States, because the elections are very important, especially this October 10, 2023 elections is going to change Liberia around. So we are looking forward to seeing that free and fair elections are, processed in Liberia, and the right person that's supposed to win this election will be the next president of Liberia. Thank you for inviting me once more.
Edetus, right?
Well, greetings to all of you Liberians. Such a pleasure to be back one more time. And my heartfelt greetings to all of our esteemed panelists to talk about our great country, Liberia. Looking forward to sharing thoughts regarding who the best person is for Liberia. Thank you.
Bishop Yeager, okay, Bishop Hagar already spoken. And
Oh,
Stephen
and
D.
by the
Freeman,
way, let me just congratulate
Bishop
Bishop
Stephen
Hagar
B.
on his
Freeman,
bishopric.
Esquire.
Yeah, Eddie.
Good
Eddie
evening,
was trying
everyone.
to
It is
congratulate me. Thank you very much. Listen, my man, we gotta put some energy in here tonight because the CDC are gonna be receiving real fire tonight. I'm ready for them.
Okay. Mr.
Bro, I hope you
Esquire,
can
can we
bring it
hear from you?
under the table there for us.
Should
What?
I
good
get
evening,
Stephen
everyone, and
Martin? Yeah.
congratulations. I'm not sure what we are congratulating the bishop about, but congratulations nevertheless.
I was.
My name is Stephen Freeman. I'm an attorney in the Maryland, D.C. area. Okay, well, congratulations, Bishop, for your ordination.
Thank you.
Yes, congrats.
Congrats, Bishop.
You congratulate me after October the 10th. I want a real
So, by
congratulations
way of
coming after
introduction,
October the 10th.
We'll give you breast milk after that time.
Derek?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for your input on our current event discussion. But for now, we will take a break. When we come back, we will get right into our discussion on the Unity Party issuing a rate against the National Elections
No, we
Commission.
did not talk about the State Department's visa restriction. We did not talk about it.
Oh, that was what he asked you.
We haven't talked
That
anything.
was what you should. We haven't talked
Yeah,
about it.
I need to make a comment there.
No,
I
they
think
haven't. They haven't
We
spoken
haven't. Oh,
about it individually.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm
So,
sorry, guys. Yes.
so okay, Mr. Yeager,
We
Mr.
haven't discussed
Hagar.
anything at all.
yeah, I
Miss-
honestly on this public platform, they very wonderful television, Liberian radio and television network. Want to really appreciate the U.S. government for making such a bold statement, visa restriction. But I wanted to go beyond that. Because some of them have double nationality in our country, like Joe, we are American citizenship. If you tamper with that election, they must revoke his citizenship. That's what I would say. Not just visa restriction, but any Liberian that tamper with that election, their citizenship should be revoked in America. Thank you.
including Ambassador Joseph Boakai of the United Party.
Yes, of course. Anyone, I said anyone. I know what I'm talking about. Anyone who
Okay,
try.
Bloje Chapin Charlie, let's get your take on the U.S. Secretary of State
I
statement.
think the issue was about democracy in Liberia, and the United States government says that anybody who undermines democracy will face some consequences. The statement itself exposes a deep problem in Liberia, especially Mr. Joseph Boakai as a violent actor. We saw Joseph Boakai threatening the existence of Liberia. And what it shows is that Boakai has been one of those people in Liberia who has supported war and violence on the country whenever election does not favor him.
Joe, we have
And he has been pretending and hiding his violent past.
Bishop Yeager, let's protect the
Boakai
man.
has been pretending and hiding his violent past, but now fully confronted with reality, he has no other choice but to expose himself openly, and this is why the United States government understanding that Mr. Joseph Boakai is a violent actor, and the fact that he's surrounded by violent warlords was quick. After he made threat against the existence of Liberia, the United States government issued a statement to warn these violent warlords that if they tamper with the democracy of Liberia, they will face deeper consequences. So we are very excited and happy for that statement.
Jarwin Ken.
Yes, guys. All of us want for Liberia to be peaceful, and the statement of the ambassador reaffirmed the commitment of the international community. Because right now, as I sit here, I see some relatives asking me, I should send them food because there will be a violent, all kind of stuff. I receive a lot of calls, but none of that. We don't need to do that. The question I ask each of them is that which of the country that are going to invade Liberia tomorrow if we have election? What I'm saying in short is that the country is for all Liberians. We don't have any country, I mean, another country coming to invade a country. So uh, we have had the experience of the war. Nobody should, at this time, support this war coming into Liberia. And that is why I'm asking all the Liberian people that they no trouble person in this election, the Tiaronse Gongo. That is why he will enforce the rule of law. He's going to make sure that nobody will circumvent any violation of the law in Liberia. Thank you.
The only lady on the platform, Miss Grace Gua. Am I correct? Is it Miss or Mrs. Grace Gua?
Mistress, mistress.
Mistress Grace Gua, I'm very
Yes,
sorry.
please.
So,
Yeah,
what
but
are your thoughts? What are your
yeah,
thoughts on?
my thoughts on this is that I'm very proud of Liberians. A lot of Liberians are working hard behind the scenes. Sometimes we don't know, sometimes when U.S. government come up with statement, we just ride on it because we think that they just came up with these statement. But a lot of Liberians are writing to the United States, government and complaining concerning these elections because the sign of the elections right now shows that the neck is not really transparent with what it's supposed to do. The policy has shown that they're supposed to bring out the final voter rule, the final registration rule, the FRR, 30 days before the elections. And up until now, they have not done that. So that is a lack of transparency right there when it comes to the final registration rule. The citizens are supposed to have the rules and all the stakeholders, also all the parties, all the candidates in the election supposed to have these rules so they can be able to put it up for the people to see and know where they're going to vote. Now in 2017, you guys noticed that people were registered in Lockington and in the Ninkin or in Pinsville. So when the voter rolls is out there, the people will know where they put them, regardless if they register in Yukuta and there was someone to go to Kawe to vote. At least they will know that I'm supposed to be at this particular place to have the right to vote because that the human rights. And now NEC has not done none of that. So the American government seeing that it's going to cause a problem. I do not condone what Joseph Waka said because I don't even think that Joseph Waka right now is in a position to be president of Liberia, to tell you the fair truth. But I also see that NEC is not being transparent, and if the international community do not intervene in these elections, it will cause problems in Liberia. And that's the reason why Dr. Clarence Play Moniba gave his statement in the different newspapers on the 22nd of this month, telling NEC that he will really like for them to put all the final registration.
Mrs. Kua, that is actually our next discussion,
Okay,
and we.
okay,
All
all
right,
right.
thank you very much. I'm sorry
Yeah,
for taking over, Dan David, but
that's
Reverend Adi, have you given your thoughts on it?
No, not yet. Thank you so
Go,
much.
go
So
right ahead.
let's be very thank you. So let's be very clear. Joseph Boyka, quite frankly, stands for peace. But let's look at who's undermined the peace and democracy of Liberia since his incumbency was George Weah. He was about to foster the removal of Kabena Jane, and he's put Madame Yo there. Let's look at who's undermined peace, security, and democracy in Liberia. We've been through a census that was incompetently conducted. The Honorable Alexander Cummings took this government to court because we don't know who's voting where, from where, whether it's Congo Town, Painesville, we don't know. He lost the case under this government. So make no mistake, we are very clear. We see that this government has undermined the peace, democracy, and economic security of our people, as evidenced by the sanctioning of three officials, Magil Serena Cephas and Bill Twally. Who's undermining democracy? When in fact the NEC has been underfunded, they introduced the biometric and unfortunately have denounced using it. Liberians are left to worry about how they will validate their votes. 30 days to elections, they violated that law. 2.4 million people are on the roster. Unfortunately, the political parties don't have the number of voters. They've padded the voter roll so much so that we had to take them to court, Unity Party, in which the writ of mandamus has been issued against them. They were today lambasted, condemned by the justice concerning their incompetence to certainly release the FFR. The FRR. So let's be very clear. You can manipulate the statement of the Honorable Joseph Boyka. Indeed, I stand with that statement. Certainly,
Reverend,
Liberia will be no more under
Reverend,
a government as
Reverend
CDC,
Adi,
the
Reverend
cartel of
Adi,
drug and corruption. Thank you.
Reverend Adi, are you
Yes, sir.
responding to, or are you responding to the press statement coming from the Secretary of State?
Absolutely.
All right,
With
can I have
respect to those that attempt to undermine the elections, and I just outlined it, what this government has been doing to undermine the peace, security, and dignity of our elections
all right,
by
yeah,
the
I have a
evidence I provided.
let me stay with you because I have a question for you based on what you just said. But before
Sure.
I do that, let me clarify for our viewers that according to the press statement that this visa restriction policy announced will apply specifically to individuals and it's not directed at the Liberian people or the government of Liberia. I think it's important that I clarify that. And Reverend Addy, back to you. Election is just 11 days away, and this press statement is coming up. Why do you think that is the case? What is the Secretary of State of the United States government? What message are they trying to put out? Why do you think this is the case?
Well,
First,
certainly,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
well, certainly this government that is the sole arbiter of our elections consistently are violating electoral processes and the laws, inconsistent with what a transparent, free, and fair elections ought to look like. Until now, 2.4 million people are supposed to be on the voters' roll, but political parties, 20 of them have not received copies of those rolls. They were still running it. Hence, the Unity Party had to go to court and file a writ of mandamus. Thank God we have a lawyer on this show. What that says as legally is that that rate mandates the NEC to do what it's supposed to do under the law. Who's undermining democracy when it's being widely reported that the deviator brother Lasana happens to be a girlfriend of the president, not to mention the deputy, who happens to also be the girlfriend of Mr. McGill, not to also mention the fact that he has a commissioner. So we are very skeptical. This government has underfunded these elections. This government has promised that we're going to use the biometrics, but changed their mind. Today, we are now using the paper ballot, of which political parties, 11 days to elections, have not received a copy.
Thank you.
At
Thank you.
what point in time will we distribute that all over?
Thank you.
So the
Thank you.
facts are clear. They want to steal the
Yeah,
Thank,
I
elections.
think I think
thank you. Thank you very
I,
much, Reverend Addy. Before I will come to you if I still have time, Reverend Addy. Lord J. But let me
yeah.
get Mr. Freeman, and we brought you. You came on to talk about the rate of mandamus, but if you want, you can give us your thought on this press statement coming out of the office of the Secretary of State, if you choose to.
Yeah, I think it's important to look at Secretary Blinken's statement in context. There have been recent incidents in Africa, including sub-Saharan Africa, where elections were held in some countries. Uh, People were elected, president were elected, and subsequently they were removed from office. So when we listen to what Secretary Blinken is saying, we have to take into context the fact that there have been recent incidents in Africa where leaders were removed from office forcefully, elected officials were removed from office forcefully. So I think the message is clear, and we see the backdrop of that message. Essentially, the secretary is saying that, look, we are aware of the climate in Africa, and therefore we are sending a message that we, the United States, will not tolerate the kind of interference we are seeing by the military in other parts of Africa. So I think it's a good step in the right direction. There have been some incendiary comments made in Liberia thus far. And so we all have to be very circumspect, but at the same time optimistic that the election is going to be free and fair. Hopefully, Liberian government take note of what the secretary said, and hopefully all of the opposition leaders in Liberia take note as well. But it's important for us to look at that statement by the secretary from the backdrop of what's been happening in our continent. That's my take on that.
Yeah,
Thank you very
Councillor,
much. Go
yeah, I
ahead.
wanted to ask you a question. Yeah, Councillor, uh, is that statement grave or has the gravity enough to deter the military and the others from interfering with elected governments? After all, anyone can say, "I'm not forced to go to the U.S." It's not mandatory that I travel to the US. There are so many other countries around the world. So I don't have to. So visa restriction, US visa restriction, it doesn't make any sense to me. Some politicians or military people could say that and go ahead and do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, and I think that's an important point, but which is why
Yeah.
I said that's a first step in the right direction. Well, look, people do what they want to do, right? But I think that statement derives from the fact that there had been some incendiary statements made in Liberia pertaining to the outcome of the election. Should the election not turn out in a certain way, some individuals have made some statements that I believe is concerning. So while it is possible that that statement in of itself may not necessarily deter someone who has some, you know, ulterior motive after the election, the message is clear that the United States will not stand for it. Given our past history, those of us who were around during the war, we know what happened over there. So the United States is aware of that. And it's from the backdrop that there have been incidents in other parts of Africa with the military taking over. The military, I mean, we can all guess what may happen, but the fact that there are politicians now that are making statements that are concerning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman. Let me just ask you this question before I move on to Blowjay for his rebuttal. And this is for the sake of our viewers. And in the statement, I know we don't have time for you to legally break down all the meanings of all of this statement here, or all of the sentences here. But I want to ask you something specifically on when it's pointed out that those undermining democracy in Liberia, including through manipulation or breaking of the electoral process. I want you to expand on that. And also, when you read further on, it said that will extend to certain family members of such persons and may also be subject to these restrictions. And person who undermine democracy in Liberia, including in the lead up to, during, and following Liberia's 2023 elections, may be found ineligible for U.S. visas under this policy. So the manipulation, I want you to expand on that, and it extending to certain family members. If you can expand on that, I appreciate it for the sake of our audience.
So I think that's a very broad statement. We can unpack the statement, right? Um, when you speak of manipulation, it's not just after the election, it's what leads to the election. So, for example, you have the United Party file writ of mandamus, right? On the basis that it has reasons to believe the Election Commission is not doing what it's supposed to be doing pursuant to the statute, pursuant to the law. So it's not just after the election. The secretary is concerned about things leading up to the election. So, for example, not providing the registration roll, not providing the necessary poll washers at the precincts, things of that nature. So, in terms of that, um, the secretary is saying basically that look, we are concerned about the general well-being, the general welfare of the elections, and as it relates to family members of politicians, I mean, it's within the secretary purview to determine who gets visa. That's the Secretary of State. U.S. embassies and consulate falls under the Secretary of State. So they can decide if they want to give someone a visa, if they doesn't want to give someone a visa. Because oftentimes in our part of the world, in Africa, Liberia in this case, people in government have a lot of power. They can remove their family members out of a situation and create a situation that becomes harmful and dangerous to people who don't have the same opportunity to leave the country. And so I think he is saying essentially that listen, we're not going to target you, but should you do anything to undermine democracy in this country, in this election, we are also going to be targeting your family member. There's certainly within the secretary purview to do so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Freeman. I have another question, but let me take Blowjay's rebuttal first, and then I will come see with my final question. Go ahead, Blowjay.
Yeah, I think we have to sit with the discussion, and I like to associate myself with the comments from Tiawan Gonglo recently. Tiawan Gonglo is a very credible Liberian, And one of the things he has said about Joseph Boakai and the Unity Party is that they are very dishonest. Joseph Boakai has no integrity.
Derek, can we
And
stick on the U.S. Secretary
yeah, yeah,
General
yeah.
statement before we can
I'm
move
discussing.
on
I'm
to another?
discussing it. You can control my thoughts here. Tiawan
No,
Kunga have
sorry.
said that Joseph Boakai is dishonest and he lacks integrity. That statement itself clearly shows, based on the argument that is coming from the Unity Party. Let's look at the dishonesty of the Unity Party to challenge the Elections Commission and say they are in violation of the law, which is not true. The
Roger,
election law, the election law is very clear. They said that,
Roger,
yeah,
I'll have to interrupt you because that is actually getting into our next
no, no, but
discussion.
no, we are discussing the statement, and we just talk about the statement and a lot of comments were made. I have to clarify those comments. Those comments cannot just fly and be left.
Yes, but
People say that
I
no,
don't want I
but
don't
these
want for
comments,
I don't want for us to deviate from talking about the statement coming from the office of the Secretary of State. I will give
yeah,
you the time.
yeah, yeah. But in the context of that statement, a lot of other commentary was made, and we can't let it
Okay.
sit. We
All
have
right.
to correct. We have to check middle comments.
What I
So,
can do,
so,
what I can do,
but,
Roger, let's settle
but
this first. What I can do is give you 30 seconds to rebuttal,
no,
and
no,
then
but that is not fair. All the people had a long time. They said whatever they wanted to say. They were not stopped. They went off talking. They said many other things.
they were sticking.
So we have equal time.
They were sticking to the script, and you can
No, no,
barely.
they don't stick to the time. People talk about election law. They talk about voter
Interrupt.
registration. They
I
talk about many
interrupt.
other things which are untrue. So I have to respond to this untruth.
Roger, I have to give you 30 seconds to rebuttal, and then
No,
I'll
no,
have.
then that's not fair. That's not fair because you cannot give people the latitude to say anything they
We have,
wanted to say
we have to
outside the
stick.
topic and cannot be allowed to respond to
We
this
have,
dishonesty, to this misinformation.
Roger, I'll give you
We,
30 seconds. I'll give you 30 seconds to
I
rebuttal.
I can't do that. I can't.
Okay, I will give
nothing to
I will give
say.
you
Let's
enough.
go to the next topic.
I will
Look,
give
you
you
have
enough
nothing to
time
say.
I will give you enough time to
About
I will give you enough time to address that when we actually discussing that.
the
Loje, Loje, I have another question for Mr. Freeman on this particular subject matter, on the statement coming out of the Secretary of State office. If you allow me to do that. Yeah, before we go on break, let me ask you one last question, Mr. Freeman. And I'm staying with this manipulation of the elections, and I will point to a very specific example. XYZ party claims that because of the numbers of people they brought out during the campaign launch, or because of the results of the pool that were collected on various media institutions, they're claiming that they have enough people to win the elections in the first round, and they are pushing that narrative, and they're saying there's no way that they can lose the election based on the numbers of people they have seen come to the campaign activity. With your legal knowledge, do you think that is a form of manipulation of the electoral
No way.
process?
No way.
Let me get Mr. Freeman first on it.
Now, Constitution itself references the first round. So, I have been pondering over where the whole idea of the first round comes from. But when you look at the Constitution, it says, look, should someone not win the first round by a majority vote, then of course there'll be a second round. So those who are saying that they will win on a first round victory, they're basically in the Constitution. I don't see anything inherently wrong with that, except for the fact that if history bears a witness, I cannot recall a political party in Liberia winning an election at the first round without some form of coalition. I know there are coalitions going on right now, but I don't think there's something inherently wrong with saying we're going to win on the first round. It may seem implausible, but it's not inherently wrong. I don't see anything. I don't think we can equate that to a manipulation. It may very well be possible, though improbable, but it's possible.
At what point is it possible? At what point does that
Well,
become a form of manipulation?
Look, no, not necessarily from the manipulation aspect. I'm saying it's possible to win a first round in Liberia because the Constitution simply says that if you don't win at the first one by 50% or majority vote, then there will be a second round. So there
50
is such
plus
a
one
thing
vote.
called a first round victory, right? I mean, the idea of first round is not from the blue sky.
50% plus one.
Yeah, the majority of
And
it.
I don't want to stay on this subject for a long period of time. What if they push this narrative so much and they're making statement that any other result except a first round victory would not be accepted? Is that also a form of manipulation?
I think it is important that the credibility of the National Election Commission is unquestionable.
Okay.
And the reason that's important is so that when the National Election Commission sort of issues, declares a winner, if we all believe in the credibility of that institution, there may not be sufficient reason to go and question it in court or file a complaint. But if you have a situation where people start suspecting the National Election Commission of engaging in all kinds of maneuvering, then you have a situation where someone might legitimately win a first round, but then be questioned as to whether or not it's even possible. So I don't want to get into the whole idea of, it might be a manipulation to win a first round, because the Constitution recognizes that someone could possibly win the first round. Now, whether in today contemporary Liberia that's such a thing remains to be seen. But I don't think it's anything inherently wrong with that concept. It's possible, yet to be seen, but it's very possible.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Let
Freeman.
me ask you a question, Mr. Moderator.
David
Mr.
Tagway,
Moderator, let me
I,
ask you.
I asked the
Let me
question.
ask you a question,
Tagway,
simple
Mr.
question.
Tagway, if you
We
don't
are
have
playing a game and I'm telling you I'm going to win you 10-0. What's the manipulation about that? I'm going to try to build my capacity, build my energy level among my people. What manipulation about that? No manipulation.
Thank you very much, Bishop
So,
Hagan.
Councillor Stevens, is it a legitimate concern? Is it Councillor Freeman? Is it a
Yes,
legitimate
correct.
concern that NEC hasn't published the final voter roll when in fact it's supposed to have done that in 30 days before the polling? Is it now a legitimate concern that the Unity Party and others are raising? Is that concern legitimate?
David, I'm sorry before you answer that question. That is actually our next conversation. So just keep the question and we'll take a break. When we come back, Mr. Freeman can give us his thoughts on that. But if you're watching us, guys, this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. This is episode 4, season 4 of the Hard Zone. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm playing host with my co-host from Liberia, David Talkway, and a team of panelists here tonight. But let's take a very brief break. When we come back, we will get right into the rate of fire by the Unity Party.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
There was going. Derek, I'm not hearing you. Are you hearing Derek? Anyone hearing Derek?
No, we can hear him.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Derek, we're not hearing you.
You guys,
Okay, now we hearing you now.
well, welcome back. I apologize for that. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us, this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network, and we're bringing you episode 4, season 4 of the Horizon. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm playing host tonight. I'm playing host tonight, and I'm here with my co-host from Liberia, Mr. David Takwe, and I'm here with a team of panelists. Let's get ready into our discussion.
Mhm.
But David disappeared.
Is it David that disappeared? Is it
Hey there.
there?
Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully, you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Derek, what's up?
Daryl,
We
we're not
cannot hear
hearing
you,
you.
Derek.
There, what's going on?
Anderson, can you unmute me from over there?
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're hearing
Hear
you
you
now.
now.
All right, I apologize for that. My internet, the devil working overtime on it tonight. Anyways, welcome back. I'm trying to get my thing straightened up. Is everything okay with my audio and my video?
You're fine.
Okay. All right, let's get right into our discussion. I'm hearing the commotion. David, can you take over for now? My
What is it? Which topic were we going to,
let's
Daryl?
get ready to the Unity Party filing a rate against the NEC.
Okay, Jawin Ken. The Unity Party has filed a writ of McDermott against the National Elections Commission for its failure to publish on time or to make public on time with the final voters roll. You think it's a good move by the party, by the Unity Party? And what
Yes,
does
I
it
think
mean
it is in the
for the
interest of the
electoral
market.
process?
Okay, specifically on that, it is very surprising that up to this point, the listing has not been released because they were supposed to be released within 30 days prior to the elections, and we are talking about few more days to the elections. So definitely there is a problem because in the first place, there's a lot of confusion already in Liberia with respect to changing the method of voting in Liberia. People register for to use the biometric, they change it last minute time, and there will be a lot of confusion as to whether people have their voter cards, but their name is not on the ballot paper when they turn out at the polling center. That will be, but it was going to be very good if people were to rectify this information before election. It would have been good. So I don't know what is the reason the election commission ought to be coming up to explain to the Liberian people what is going on. The Liberian people deserve to know what is happening. Why are they not doing that? So I think the United Party, I think it was the right move to do to take the legal action.
So, what does it speak about the electoral process, and what does it speak about the National Elections Commission in your view?
Well, I think the election commission we have been hearing of the issue of money, uh, the issue of a lot of materials, and today you just reported that the ballot bags just arrived in the country from Ghana. So we have had 6 years to prepare for these elections. So it is very shameful that under the government is not in a position to properly handle free and fair election as outlined in the Constitution of Liberia or by whatever rules we have in the country. So it's very concerning. We should all remember in 1985 there was a problem when when Jackson Hebdo was presumed by popular opinion that he won and turned out it was due. We don't want to have that kind of experience in Liberia anymore based on the experience we have had over the years that killed a lot of people. Meaning we don't want war. It was because of that dissatisfaction that led to people getting in the bush to fight war. So we don't need that in Liberia anymore. We need transparency during these elections. So it is critical for the election commission to really explain to the Liberian people if there is any fish anywhere, they need to come out and explain to the Liberian people what action are they taking to resolve the issue instead of keeping silent on that.
Bloje,
Yeah,
Bloje, what,
yeah,
Bloje, what is the way forward in your view to
yeah.
quell the ongoing controversy regarding the final voter roll?
Well, I'm happy that Jawiken cited a law that says within 30 days before elections. If you look at the wording of the law, there's no violation. It didn't say before, they didn't say 30 days before election day. They said within 30 days. We are still within 30 days. Now, I'm not defender of the Elections Commission here, but the law, there's no violation of the law. And in fact, the Elections Commission just had a press conference before the Unity Party or dishonest, hypocritical, or quote, filing. The Elections Commission just had a press conference where they announced that the voter roll will be released before election day. Now, the question we have to ask, what has been the practice of elections in Liberia, the conduct of elections, voter and its final voter roll? There was no time in election. The 2017 election is the same practice that the Elections Commission doing today is the same practice they carry on. The Unity Party then was in power. They argued for this behavior. It was a law. During the 2011 elections, the same issue, the Unity Party argued in favor of the Election Commission practicing the same thing. There have been recent by-elections in Liberia where the Unity Party won. The very direct who are going to court, they defeated the CDC in Maserati twice with the same practice. So the only reason why they are raising this question is because they know they're going to lose this election and they are finding reason to disrupt the peace of the country. What the Elections Commission is doing is it's not new.
Bloje,
It's not new.
Bloje,
Yeah.
Bloje, the opinion of the Supreme Court, according to the Liberia Bar Association, is that the Elections Commission should publish the final voter
But
roll
Election Commission has not refused. The Election Commission will publish it.
30 days, in 30 days before the elections.
No, that's not what the law says. It is a 30 days before. They say within 30 days, the Election Commission has not refused to publish that list. It will be published. Now, I don't like to defend the Elections Commission because it sound irony for me to be in defense of the Elections Commission. But I'm saying this is the practice. This has been the practice in Liberia for every election, by election, everything. This practice has not changed. Why is the United Party raising an unnecessary issue? Why is the United Party trying to disrupt the peace of the country? Why is the United Party trying to create chaos? It's only because they know they cannot win these elections. And so they are finding ground to create chaos. The Elections Commission must publish the. Let me
remind. No, Bloje.
Yeah, let me stop. The Elections Commission must publish that list because we all want the list. There's nobody that's going to benefit if we don't know the list. But to presume that for the United Party to argue that it is against them, why is the ANC didn't go to court? Why Gonglo, who is a lawyer, why didn't go to court? Why everybody else is not going to court?
But Bloje, all of them, the Tiawan Gonglo, the Money Bar, the comments have all expressed concern about the delay. But
yes, we all want it, but there's no delay. We want the list, but the Elections Commission has to exercise and keep with the law.
Why isn't the CDC also concerned? Why isn't the CDC?
We are concerned, but there's no violation of the law. Are you concerned with the law, or you just want to do things by heart? Is the Election Commission in violation of the law? No. So it's an irony that people who argue for rule of law will be making an argument that is outside the rule of law. Now, I want a list now. I'd rather have the list now today. But the Election Commission is saying that we have to do things the way we have been doing it in keeping with the law. Yeah, the court said publish a list. You must publish it. The Election Commission said yes, we'll publish it. The Election Commission is not refusing to publish the list, but they have their own timeline schedule. And so,
okay, let me talk to okay, Bloje, Bloje, let me get Mrs. Goa. Mrs. Goa, what's your take on this entire argument about the delay of the publication by the National Elections Commission of the final voter roll? It is something that threatens the transparency or the integrity of the National Elections Commission. Is it a good concern? Is it a legitimate concern that the United Party has raised? Is it a good step that the United Party has taken to go to court?
Well, it's concerning that the final registration rule has not been published. And Bloje is saying that they said within, but the actual law said before 30 days. It never said within. I hope
no, there's no law that says that. The Electoral Commission has challenged them to show the law. Nobody has shown that law. There's no law that says that.
It said 160.
And Bloje, you come at time.
The voter roll have to be published to the entire Liberia. So the Elections Commission is in violation at this point. And they need to bring out the voter rolls as soon as possible. Now, United Party rid of my Thomas is a crybaby move to me, because United Party always think that they're unified and they got this unity, but then when it comes to actually bringing the people together to join and do what they're supposed to do, they don't do that. Now, going to court right now and say the solution, I don't think so. I think that what you have done, the United Party always feel entitled that they're supposed to be doing this and they think they will win this election.
So, Mrs. Goa, so what is a good thing to do? If the United Party is wrong to go to court, what is the right thing to do?
I feel that they should have called all the parties involved, like all the candidates that are running, or all the political parties should have a joint statement, and they should have gone out and make the joint statement together as one, because now it affects all the other parties, although now they are coming out individually and giving a statement, but they should have done it jointly. But usually the United Party will just jump in front, and because they think that this election belongs to them, they feel entitled that they already won this election, so they ran to court as usual. They were just in court with CPP when they were part of CPP. So to me, it's a crybaby move on their behalf. Is
And
that?
So Mrs. Gua, in a nutshell,
Mhm.
it's supposed to have been a collective action by the parties to have filed in the rate of McDermott's. Is that
That
what you
is
mean?
correct. It holds more weight when the collective parties join together and fight the McDonald's. If they needed to fight at this time, than for one party to just jump in because they feel that they already won these elections. And these are the things that's the reason why the American government tried to make that statement. They made a statement because now they're making people fear of their lives. Their political leader coming and saying what he said, and now they're going to court because the voter roll is
Okay,
not
okay,
out yet.
Mrs. Gua. Let me come to Bishop Hagar. Bishop Hagar is from the Unity Party.
Thank you, Mrs. Gua. With all due respect, I gave you a scenario. We are in a community. A roll came in a community to steal. Everybody say now close their mouth. Nobody's doing anything. I call the police and say, police, there's a roll here, let's arrest the roll. And then you say, oh, why? We got all the people in the community so we can call the police together. It don't
No, but
work.
the thing is that other political party leaders already spoke on this whole or final voter
Why didn't they go to
registration
court?
law.
Why didn't they go
But there
to
was no violation of
Because
the
Okay,
for
law.
Mrs.
That's
me,
why
Gua.
they didn't
there
go
Okay,
is
to
no
no,
court.
reason
no,
why
no,
they
no,
should
no.
go to court at this time.
Bishop Yeager, go ahead. Mrs. Gua will come back to you. Blojo will come back to you, people.
the
Bishop
records are
Yeager.
there?
Mhm.
Unity Party, we are very law-abiding people. We respect the law. We have to address this issue. We raise the concern before going to court. Maybe I need to remind you, maybe you don't know, we wrote 2 letters to the National Election Commission asking them to publish the final voter listing. They refused to publish it. After we wrote them officially, the letters are there. We never just jump up and went to court. They know our representative. When the people went to the National Election Commission, they never met them to address the issue. We are Liberians. Election will come and go, but Liberia belongs to every one of us. And those guys in the Election Commission, they are being paid by the taxes we pay. We have stakes in these elections. So when they refuse to address our concern, where do we put people in the street and hold casket? The CDC, when they're not happy, they walk where they play holding casket. And what we do, we don't do that. We go to the legal structure that is in place to address the issue. That's what the Constitution said. That's what
So
we
if
do.
the Unity Party is a peaceful party, why then they just standard barrel or say it would be the end of Liberia if George Weah and the CDC there rig the election? You think it's a peaceful statement? Is it not a
But
statement
Donald Trump said,
that can
let me
plunge
say something to you.
the entire country into
Donald
chaos?
Trump said during the campaign in America, if he's don't win the election, America will collapse. Those are political statements. You need to be mature. Donald Trump always saying it. He
Bishop
doesn't
Hagar,
mean
Bishop Hagar,
hold on.
David, if you don't
What?
mind, can I ask a question in real
Yeah,
quick?
go ahead, Derek. Go ahead, Derek. Yeah, Bishop Hagar, you want to land before Derek comes in?
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I addressed that issue very well. When you look at the years of Honorable Joseph Boaga, he always has stood for peace. He's a peaceful man. We are now people that supported Model. The records are there. People that are hiding behind, we get record to prove those who say they are clean hands, they never supported war. We have records that they were involved and supported warring parties. What we are saying here today is Joseph Boaga, one of the most peaceful person in Liberia history. Period.
Thank you.
Then
Bishop
it's an irony, Derek Akame. It's an irony for a peaceful person to make a statement that is counterproductive to the peace and stability
What
of the
make it
country.
counterproductive? You're a journalist over the
Yes,
the
I'm asking you a question, sir.
Listen to me. Don't
I'm
go
asking you a
there,
question, sir.
Don't
I'm
go
asking
there.
you a
It is
question,
the
sir.
inability to conduct free and fair election that plunged the country into war. It is not opposition. 1985 election was not because opposition made statement. It was because the election commission refused to conduct the election freely and fairly and transparently.
Derek?
Please.
Thank you. I want to stay on this rate of mandamus that was filed by the Unity Party. and I don't want to get us to deviate from it. Mr. Bishop Hagan, let me stay with you. I think Bloje made a claim that and also Mr. Goa said it's a crybaby move by the Unity Party, and it should have been a joint effort, joint opposition political parties effort. And also Bloje made a claim that there was no law violated, so Unity Party just did what it wanted to do. How do you respond to those claims?
Well, I'm not responding based on opinion. Read what the opinion of the the justice, the Supreme Court, what it told this election commission. If we are violating, we don't have right. What the Supreme Court read the reading, what the justice said to them. Please just read it. That's all I would say. You go to the law. If we are violating, we don't follow the law. Let's say this, what the Supreme Court said to the Supreme Court mandated the election commission to immediately produce the final voter list. They mandated. If they were violating the law, they were not mandated. They know that they are not in compliance. That's what the Supreme Court said to them. So not me, I'm not a lawyer. That's what the Supreme Court said. They are in violation. If they were not in violation, Supreme Court would not say they are mandated to produce the result, the report, the final voter list, a rule. What are you people talking about here?
Thank you very much,
Bishop. Listen, we're not here to can't talk people
Bishop
that
you've made your point. Let me give it back to David, and you can move on to the next panelist of your choice. Go ahead, David.
Jawin Yeah, Jawin
No.
Do you agree with Bloje comments?
What Bloje made a lot of statements about this, but I think the other panels were supposed to. I think Bishop and Sherry, they have not spoken on the issue. So I think they should be the next
Okay. Okay, Reverend Addy, let's get your thoughts on it.
That balance.
Thank you.
Another Unity Party. Well, go ahead, Reverend Addy.
Okay.
No, go ahead,
Reverend. Thank you. Guys, let me speak. Well, thank you. Well, I just want to say thank you to Madam Grace Goa for recognizing that the Unity Party always plays a leadership role, as she expected us to do. But I also want to remind her. I also want to remind her that you cannot accuse the Unity Party of being a crybaby whilst at the same time expecting us to lead the fight on protecting the votes, which we did at the Supreme Court, followed by Tiawon Gonglo, which unfortunately my friend and brother didn't know that Tiawon Gonglo also filed a writ of Madamus today. So not to mention the fact that there cannot be a contradiction here, political hypocrisy. And what is it? Mr. Alexander Cummings was the first that sued the NEC for not demarcating. He didn't wait for a consensus of political parties. He honorably went to the Supreme Court, and NEC denied him a legal victory within the law that when you conduct a census, you need to read district to know who's voting from where. So that is the inherent contradiction in the accusation of the Unity Party, which happens to be an obsession right now on this line. When people ask questions, they immediately go to attacking Joseph Boyka. But I can certainly understand why, because he's the forerunner of this race. So the truth remains that the law is the law. Chapter 4, Section 16.1 of the election laws mandates that the NEC provides 2.4 million list of names to the 20 political parties. And I think what is also confusing, Bloje, and that is why when we come to power by the will of the people, we will change that law to be it shall. It shall. So it is implicit. You cannot give a print out 2.4 million names to political parties, 5 days to elections, and expect them to distribute that to over 5,000 precincts. And that is why this government represents incompetence. Listen, I interrupt me, Mr. Chappie Charlie. And that is why this government represents incompetence. And they aren't concerned because they're confident that they will rig this, that they will definitely rig these elections. Unfortunately, I certainly stand by the statement of the Honorable Joseph Boyka, because an extension of 6 more years of George Weah, Liberia will be worse than an international disrepute, proliferation of drugs, victimization of our youth, ghettos, over 800 in our country. So yes, Liberia will be in the abyss under the next leadership if George Weah becomes president of Liberia. So make no mistake, we are watching and we intend to protect our votes. Thank you.
David, if you permit me, I have a question for
Yeah, go
Reverend.
ahead, Eric.
Yes, Reverend Adid, according to Bishop Hager, the Supreme Court today mandated the NEC to provide the final photos roll. Now, with 11 days, given based on what you just said, with 11 days left to the election, do you think that is enough time to have that photo roll review, and if there's any or fraud in it, to have it altered or changed? Do you think we have enough time for that process to be done? And if not, what do you think should be the next step of the administration and the Unity Party?
Let me tell you, not only did the Supreme Court mandate them, they were rebuked. Okay, the judge said it is a disgrace that for this government to be able to conduct these elections, to be having people sue them for something that should have been done. She rebuked them today. It is an international embarrassment. Now, let's be very clear. There's not enough time to review 2.4 million names and redistribute them to over 5,000 precincts.
So what
but this is what we've got to work with.
So what do we do? We just work with it?
Unfortunately,
cancel the elections?
To work with. We do not, or we will not cancel these elections. It's unfortunate that we are victims of incompetence. We'll just have to work day and night to ensure that all of the different precincts in our poll watchers get the list.
I asked that question too. So if you're saying
you were asking a question,
yes, this is what your answer to the question is. This is what we have to work with. And now my follow-up question to that would be:
yes, our answer is unfortunate. This is what we've got to work with, and CDC is. Pardon me.
After the elections, will you, regardless of who wins, will you accept that the elections were free and fair, given what we know about this final photo roll?
Every Liberian is interested in a free, fair, and transparent elections. That shouldn't be a problem.
If everything remained constant, would you accept that it was free and fair? Because you just admitted that
every Liberian remain hopeful that these elections will be free, fair, and transparent.
Thank you very much. And let me go back to you, David.
Yes, and one thing we are leaving out is it's not only politicians that are concerned about the voters' roll. The ordinary Liberians. Why, if an ordinary Liberian goes to a voting center, the voters say your name is not on the list? I think that's what makes it a major concern. What do you guys think?
Let's first take Sheriff, and then we will come to
Sheriff, Mr. Sheriff.
So after you've listened to everyone, give us your erect the legal checkpoint. Sheriff, let's go, Mr. Sheriff.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yes. We're hearing you.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you so much. I want to say thanks to the very panelists here tonight. I've been sitting listening to a lot of things that the panelists, some of the panelists have been saying. But to be honest with you, before I can delve into anything, I first want us to establish that unlike the former ruling party, the Unity Party, the CDC is a party that respects law and order. And I also want us to understand here that the CDC does not conduct an election. It is the National Elections Commission, which is an independent body that conducts election. So if I hear the Unity Party people saying that this government is incompetent, the government cannot conduct free, fair, and transparent election, the government can only facilitate free, fair, transparent election. And that's what the government has promised to do. But the government does not conduct election. It is the NEC. So I want us to get this fact here. But the Unity Party, they only proving to us that in the past, when election was being conducted, it was being conducted behind the scene by the Unity Party. So they believe what they did in the past, that's what CDC is going to be doing. But we're not doing that. And I don't even want to delve furthermore, because the issue with the Unity Party going to court is between the Unity Party and the NEC. It's not between the Unity Party and CDC, so I don't want to speak to that. But before I can even sit and listen to the next speaker or listen to the next thing we're going to discuss on, I wanted to do a little clarification here.
So Mr. Sheriff.
One second. Can I just learn?
Okay.
Yeah, let me just learn. Because I listened to the Unity Party supporter here, and I will buttress my sister. Sorry if I didn't call your name, but my sister on the line, she made a salient point that there are folks within the Unity Party who feel entitled to the presidency of Liberia. They feel that they are the ones. Everybody else that is, that are in this race, they look at it to be these people. They don't need to be here. In fact, we are the ones who need to be here. The reckless statement that was made by their state bearer Joseph Boakai, they will come here to want to equate that to what Donald Trump said here. So that tells you exactly where they're getting their cue from. The man is telling you Donald Trump told the American people that if he did not win, the election would not be free and fair. So they are telling you that, no, hold on. I will come in. You didn't stop me. I will come in. You're coming. So I just wanted to get it fact clear. No, I beg you, sir. I sit and listen here. So the Unity Party people are telling you, they're trying to create that doubt. Even though they see no smoke, but they keep saying there's smoke, because their thing is they know they're going to lose this election to the CDC. So they're trying to create that doubt that, oh yeah, we said we were going to cheat. So by the time they lose bigly, when we win our first round victory, then they say, we told you they were going to be cheating. Because they're where they're taking the cue from Donald Trump. I just want us to get that fact established here. Because he mentioned Donald Trump. He said Donald Trump said to the American people that if he didn't win, then the election was not free and fair. So that's the same thing the Unity Party people are doing here. Just say it. So thank you.
Mr. Sheriff, as a patriotic Liberian, it's not of.
No, you never heard me clearly, Sheriff.
No,
you did not hear me clearly.
Bishop Yeager, you're not
recognized.
it.
I never said
Bishop Yeager,
what you said.
Bishop Yeager, you will reply later on.
Mr.
Sheriff, as a patriotic Liberian, is it not of concern to you that NEC hasn't published the final voter roll with just few days to elections?
It is in the vital interest of all of us as Liberians, all of us that support free, fair, transparent election, that this list be made public by this time. And like I say, and Chubby alluded to, we're not here to defend NEC. All right. The Unity Party is already in court in NEC. They will sort that out. But as a Liberian, yes, of course, it's of concern that we want to see the list because it's in our vital interest as well. Because CDC, we want to make sure we win this election free, fair, and transparent on the first round basis. So we want this to happen because it's in our vital interest.
So it's in a vital interest, suggesting that the Unity Party has taken the right decision to have gone to court.
Well, I'm not saying that they've taken the right. You asked a direct question. He said, do I want them to publish it? Of course, I wanted to publish it. And you understand, but Unity Party is doing the legislature already put it. They crap everything Unity Party is doing, trying to put out to everything that they can. We're not here to dwell into that because we know their strategy. Like the brother already put it, their strategy is to create more doubts. So by the time the election is over, they lose and they say, oh, we say that they're going to cheat us. So we know that. And that's not going to work with the Liberian people because the Liberian people fully understand that these elections will be held free, fair, and transparent. And this government is doing everything within its power to facilitate that process. So anything outside of that is just rumors and innuendos being pushed out there by the Unity Party. We're not going to buy into that stuff.
Councilor Freeman. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Derek.
I'm sorry, David. Sherry, let me ask you a question real quick based on what you just said. You said the government does not conduct the elections, right? It is the National Elections Commission. Now, in light of this rate that was issued by the Unity Party or against the Elections Commission, what did the government of Liberia or the CDC administration do to ensure that this voters' roll was released or will be released on time? What step did the government of Liberia take to make sure of that?
Well, let me just respond to that.
Yeah. Okay. Come in, Charlie.
Yeah, Sherry just said the government has nothing to do with that. The government cannot interfere in the electoral process.
No,
it's not the government business.
It's not a government's job.
The problem is the Unity Party. Let's look at the legislature. The legislature have all right. They have the province to change the election laws. No, let me say that. The Unity Party had a majority of legislature to change this law. They failed to do that.
Let me go order to this. I asked a very direct and specific question. Maybe you did not. I wasn't clear in the question. Let me rephrase my question.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me rephrase my question. I understand that the government does not conduct the election or is not associated with the National Elections Commission. Now, to you, Sheriff, my question: the CDC Not that the CDC as a party, they are participating in this election. What did the CDC do to make sure that the National Elections Commission released that final photo roll
The
on time?
CDC can do nothing because the CDC already knows the law,
but
and this is how elections have been conducted in
General, you can talk
Liberia.
together.
This is the way the elections have been conducted, so the CDC can do nothing.
Yeah, thank you, Blojo. No, hold on one second. Blojo just correctly alluded to, but
Sheriff, let me control the show, okay? Let me control the show.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay, I will give this question to Sheriff. If you want,
Okay.
I will come to you with a rebuttal.
All right, go ahead. Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I'll give you 30 seconds. CDC, what does CDC do to make sure that NEC abide by her own laws, or to make sure that this final photo roll was released on time?
But
timely, fair, and fashion. Did they just sit and do nothing and expect a national election to carry out this, especially when time was fast approaching? What does CDC do to ensure that?
Again, let me tell you this. Like Bloje rightly put it, the CDC as a political party will know the rules that govern these elections. All right? We do not interfere in the national election functionalities. That's what we don't do. Besides, hold on one second though. Besides, instead of sitting over the crying baby, the CDC is busy campaigning to the Liberian people, propagating our agenda to the Liberian people, making them to understand what the CDC is all about to vote for us. As opposed to Unity Party. No, hold on one second though. As opposed to Unity Party, who is doing everything to shift blame over there to make it look like nothing is going right. So we're not wasting our time on trivial matters. Again, listen though. We're not wasting our time on trivial matters. We are.
Question, Sheriff. You've answered the question.
Thank you.
Clarify this if you would. Clarify this if you would. Are you saying that the CDC do not care that election is fast approaching and the final photos roll has not been released? Are you saying that the CDC don't care?
Well, that's not what any of us said. None of us have ever said that here. But we are telling no. You asked a question, right? So I'm gonna give you an answer. Okay. I said yes. At no point in time did Chubby Norman say anything resembling what you just stated. But what we are saying to you here, we will not answer the question to your liking. But what we are telling you here, I'm just telling you, what we are telling you, we do not interfere in the National Elections Commission function job because we know the rules that govern these elections. Besides that, CDC is more or less busy with our campaigning. Let's start to think about the roster, which of course is in our vital interest, but we're not even concentrating on that right now because you know what? We want to put into place things that will make us to win this election. Only the Unity Party that is looking for blames, that they can hold on to tomorrow to say the election was not free and fair.
I can give you enough time to take a dig at the Unity Party. For the viewer's sake, I'm just trying for you to commit to an answer here. If you're saying that, let me
go ahead.
Okay, Bloje.
Derek, you are with these two people for a long time now.
Yeah, let's go. Go ahead.
I'm about to move on to Mr. Freeman. I wanted you to clarify your answer. If you're saying the CDC does not prioritize the final photos roll being released, especially
nobody said that here. So don't make up story and don't put words in our mouth. Nobody said that here.
I said I'm going off of what you said. You said CDC will focus on other things.
Oh yes, no. We also told you.
Derek, I think you're doing a disservice by battering these people with misrepresentation.
Yeah, you try to misrepresent our statements. We are telling you.
It's very concerned with the voter roll. We need the voter roll because we also want to know where people will vote. It's in our interest.
Yes.
But it must be done in keeping with the law.
There you go. That's what we said. Yeah.
All of the panelists here, including Mr. Freeman, can bear witness. I'm not making a statement.
Go ahead, take your time. Yeah.
It's a piggyback on what you guys are saying. I asked about the date on the final photo roll being released, and you said, Sheriff, that CDC were prioritizing other things.
Well, but listen though. Apparently, you didn't even listen to what. No. Let me just answer this.
Sheriff, whether Derek asked you that question.
I gave you the opportunity to clarify multiple times.
No, but it seems that Derek is not even listening because when I first spoke, I told you if you're listening. Let me just answer that question again. In my expose the very first time, I said the voter roll is as important to to the city to the CDC as important to any other political party. I said that. If you listen, you can roll the tape. I said that. So that was answered. No, listen. That was answered. Then I also told you, I said, we now, because we know the rules, we know the laws that govern these elections, we want to roster out. It's important. It's in our vital interest. I even said that. I said, besides that, we are also very much engaged with our campaigning. And you understand, we're not going to be like a unity party that will just throw away the campaigning and just focus on one thing to go to the Supreme Court. We're not going to do that.
Sheriff, thank you guys so much for your take on this whole rate unity party fight against the National Elections Commission. Now let me come to you, Mr. Freeman, so you can erect some legal checkpoint here. So give us your take on the rate unity party fight against the National Election Commission of Liberia.
Well, thank you, Mr. Moderator. The first time I became aware of concerns pertaining to the final registration rule, I read a statement made by Dr. Moniba. In Dr. Moniba's statement, he was concerned that the final registration rule had not been issued yet. That was the first time I became aware of that. Now, let's be clear that the issue of voting in Liberia, as you can all tell now, engenders a lot of passion. Even amongst ourselves, engenders a lot of passion. It is an issue that goes to the heart of our democracy. It is an issue that touches and concerns the peace and stability of our country. So among ourselves, the panelists, it engenders a lot of passion, rightly so. But I want to also make another point. I'm hearing a lot about how the Unity Party is a crybaby, or the Unity Party unilaterally proceeded to the court. Voting is a fundamental right under our law, a fundamental right. And so the Unity Party has standing. In fact, if you read, I read an excerpt from what they filed. They begin by saying we are certified and accredited political party. They were basically trying to establish standing. Before anyone files anything to the court, that person must first and foremost have standing. In other words, what makes you think you have the ability to ask the court to do something? So Unity Party, in their brief, have to, for lack of a better phrase, get the acquiescence of other political parties. They can individually, on the basis of standing, proceed with a writ of mandamus. Now, the question then is, what is in fact a writ of mandamus? A writ of mandamus is simply a legal tool that is usually sought at a court to compel a government entity, in this case, the National Elections Commission, to do a statutory duty, okay? The Unity Party alleges in its complaint two things. There are two major issues here before we go to the actual statute, the actual law. And then in full disclosure, I see references being made to 30 days and things of that nature. I read through the law back and forth, specifically the new election law, what they reference as the new election law, which was passed in September of 2014. And I don't see anything by any 30 days. But
yeah, 2014 law.
In their brief, had two major issues. And I beg your pardon?
No, go ahead. You was just making
a read it. They said that the NEC is required by law, which is the 2014 law, to publish and provide political parties with copies of the final registration rule of all prohibit the NEC from allowing those whose name are not found on the FRR to vote, restricting addendums to the FRR to only those listed in the NEC polling and counting manuals. Those are the two major issues. On those two issues, they filed a writ of mandamus to instruct the NEC to do a statutory duty. When I read through the statute, chapter 4, which governs the from 1986, right? And then in 2014, it was amended, which is now referred to as the new election law. So
Exactly.
4.2 addresses some of the concerns we have, right? And if you look at 4.2, it says the number of registered voters in every precinct shall be approximately equal, and unless the commission in any particular case so determines, the number of registered voters in any precinct shall not exceed 3,000. And I think that was one of the issues the court addressed today, the question of number of voters in the precinct. And if you look at section 3 of chapter 4, it says in our court, no change in definition of a constituency or a voting precinct shall apply to an election if the election day is less than 12 months after the day of the change is published, unless the commission announces at least 120 days before the election day that all necessary preparations can be made to allow the changes to apply to the election. So that's the crux of the unity party contention. It is important to note that, first and foremost, I'm not sure where the 30 days is coming from. But what I do know, on August 29th,
I can tell you where the 30 days coming from.
But that's what I would say.
The 30 days, it says that section 16.7 of the 2023 voter regulations clearly state that the final voters roll cannot be altered.
Yep.
By the National Election Commission within 30 days
30 days prior to the election.
except in the Supreme Court. So if
Mrs.
that
Cohen,
is the case, a voter
Mrs.
roll
Cohen,
supposed to be
Mrs.
out
Cohen,
before
Mrs.
30 days. That's my argument.
I will give you enough time to rebuttal, but let's allow Mr. Freeman to conclude on his take on this. Go ahead,
No,
Mr.
sorry,
Freeman.
Mr. Freeman. I didn't want to rebuttal. I just wanted him to see the section 16.7 where it says that.
And thank you for that, madam. Because here's what happened today. I was turning around. I think I saw an excerpt of that 2023 regulation you referenced. Perhaps it was just an abbreviated version of it. But one thing I want to note, though, is on August 29th, the election commissioner went to the Senate. And at the Senate, she said that she was going to provide the final rule sometime September 18th. That hasn't happened yet. Look, let's make no mistake. This election is critical, right? And if the law requires that it be done within 30 days, then it has to be done within 30 days. I noticed something in the complaint. Unity Party were asking the court to change something from may to shall, because they said the election commission may do something. They may clean the election roll. Unity Party wanted it to be shall. The law is the law. I mean, I haven't read what she's actually referencing, but if the black letter law says it has to be done within a certain time frame to ensure the credibility of the election, I think it's in everyone's interest. Everyone should applaud the process. Everyone should applaud the Unity Party, I would think, for proceeding to the court versus taking some other arbitrary method to bring attention to this issue. I understand that the court made some statements today. I also understand that the court has reserved its ruling on this matter. We are waiting to see what the Supreme Court says, but the fact is, election is almost a year now, and I'm not sure whether or not the final registration rule, when it's finally released, is going to be accepted by everybody. My hope is, that the election will be done in such a way that is undisputed, but that remains to be seen, given all of the controversies surrounding the issue as we speak.
Thank you so much, Mr. Freeman. Now, let me ask you a quick question before I do that. Let me welcome the General, welcome to the house. I know it's your first appearance, but let me take this opportunity to welcome you. We're talking
Thank
about
you, brother.
the rate that was filed by Unity Party against the National Elections Commission. I will come back to you after I ask Mr. Freeman this question. Mr. Freeman, I know you mentioned that the Supreme Court reserve is ruling. My question is, given the fact that we're 11 days from the elections and we don't know when the Supreme Court going to rule on this particular matter, do you think the time this final registration rule will be released has a direct or indirect effect on the elections being conducted, given and given the fact that, or with the fact that political party may or may not accept the final registration rule? What's your take on that?
I think there is an exigency here. The urgency of releasing the final registration rule cannot be understated. Under the under Article 83 of the Liberian Constitution, 1986 Constitution, should someone have an issue with the Election Commission, the law says that they have to file a complaint with the commission first, and then the commission has to investigate within 30 days, right? And then when
Yes.
they issue their final ruling, the Election Commission, the party, the petitioner, the complainant, has at least 7 days to appeal to the Supreme Court. I don't think that happened here, but we can all sort of, extrapolate from what's happening to say, oh, we can infer that it happened because of this reason. There's such a short time to the election. My guess is the party, the petitioner, the Unity Party circumvented. In fact, they said that they actually wrote a letter to the Election Commission. The Election Commission didn't respond and all of that. So perhaps that's why they went straight to the Supreme Court. Now, under the law, the Supreme Court has to respond within 7 days. Within 7 days. With regards to if someone has a complaint on issue with the Election Commission, once that matter gets to the Supreme Court, Article 83 of the Constitution says that the court will respond within 7 business days. 7 days. Now, whether or not that is going to happen yet remains to be seen. My hope is, given the short time frame we are all looking at, and given the exigency of the issue, the final registration rule, whether or not it can be produced within a time frame that all the political parties have an ability to inspect it and certify and things of that nature, I will hope that the court issues its ruling sooner than 7 days, so that parties who have further contentions might be able to address the issues. But the court have 7 days, and within 7 days, we hope to see some sort of ruling on the issue. I suspect that the court is going to ask the Election Commission to issue the final registration rule. That final registration rule is important for the integrity of the elections.
Thank you very much. Before I take you guys, if you guys have any take, let me first take the general. The general, if you like, you can give us your take on this rate of endowments filed by the Unity Party against the Elections Commission.
Well, thanks, guys. And to be frank with you, I never went through it, but I just glanced at it. We got 11 days to this election. Hold on 1 minute. When you hear your family people calling you every second, let me just put my phone. Yeah, we got, I think, 11 days to this election. All these things that are going on right now is something that we tried to talk about before, but because the oppositions were not together, and last minute to time now we see that Unity Party took upon themselves. Yes, they got this is a right to go to court, but I'm not going to dive into it because, to be frank, it's waste of time. Because for us Liberians, what we put on social media is not what sometimes they quote or what the real message is. Because when you look on social media today, you will see all kinds of different messages about cheating, or the neck is this or neck is that. Yes, we all want a voter rule. We all want it, that we got to look through it. But the time is short. But I'm not really going to dive in it because the CPP got their lawyers and they're working on it. They been in contact with NEC. Maybe the Unity Party going to take it different way. The way they want to take it is up to them. But it's not nothing for anyone or for me to say I will applaud United Party about what they did. I'm not going to applaud them on that because we try to have meetings to run after these things. They thought that they were trying to promote someone, but they chose to do their own thing. So right now, everyone is on their own. So we got a way we approaching neck on this issue, and they got their way to approach neck on this issue. But I believe that when you try to complain, and try to make up your mind that there's a cheating, look, we all know the ruling party will always get the advantage to try to do some stuff. Yes, ruling party will love to cheat, but I think a lot of eyes is on them. Every time they try it, the UP did it. Maybe people from the UP now in the CDC, so the UP is concerned about it because it's like when you're in a room or you're in a house and you know you did something in a house. When you leave the house, you start to imagine what is going on in our house because there's something that we did there before. I will tell you the real
Exactly,
truth. But we
exactly,
got 11 days to go. We
exactly.
got 11 days to go. I want to win. I'm going to campaign. Duty before complain. I'm going to. But I applaud, yes, you know, the party that had the right to go to court. But all these things, we're trying to do it behind closed door for the parties to talk. You remember, we even took it was latest or somebody who took them to court. Dillon said, we don't know what we're doing. So we decided not to do things the way we want to do it. We wrote all the and people involved. We continue to send them some harsh letters. So our lawyers are working on it and we're talking to them, but we're not going to waste our time to start to run on this thing. So there's nothing much I would say about it, but I am campaigning right now. And whatever happens, listen, our eyes are on them. If they're
The
going to
general,
cheat, it will be in serious trouble. I want I can tell them because people are watching
There is
them
no
and the
no
international
cheating.
community is watching.
thank you very much. The
No
general,
no cheating.
if you can tell our audience your name because they're having issue with me introducing you as the general. Can you just tell the audience the name is Monique and
Well,
Kashin?
listen to me.
Monique
You
Kishin.
so no, don't call my name to them. You're wasting time now because if you say you want to know my name last minute of time by this time now, I'm not going to waste my time on it either. But anyway,
You
my
know,
name is
Yeah,
Munel
General.
Kishen and aka the General. So don't worry,
you
most of them know the name.
also know as the general. Now, time for
Derek, can I ask you a question?
yes, you take the last question because
Yeah,
we
General, you said you just want to win. That suggests that you don't care whether the neck does the proper thing or not. You just want to win because you
Well,
just
I
want to
don't want you
win.
to change. No. I don't want you to put words in my mouth.
So
I
I
said
heard
I
you
want
say
to
you
win.
just want to win. Yeah. So does it mean
Listen, I
that?
want to win,
Mhm.
and I said that our lawyers and people who are responsible for these things are in contact and they are doing what they're supposed to do. My responsibility is to sell my candidate, and I want to win. So the time I would take to spend on these topics there and try to go through legality, I'm not a lawyer, so there's nothing I'm going to tell you. I will be campaigning. The people responsible, they will do it. We're not going to waste our time in public on social media, or the lawyers from and CPP will not come on social media, or you will see us fighting and doing us. We're doing it the way it's supposed to be done. Our lawyers are in connection with in
If I
contact
may
with NEC,
quickly,
and
if I
that's
Mr.
it.
may quickly,
Mr. Freeman. No, Roger, we
30
unfortunately
seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds,
we
30
are out of
seconds.
time. I have the final
Just 30
question.
seconds. A quick point, please.
Go ahead.
A quick point I want to
Derek, you
make.
said I asked you a question.
Go ahead, but before you make a quick point, at some point in time on the show, don't accuse me of being unfair. I'm giving you 30 seconds now, even though I don't have time.
Yeah, but I beg for it. So yeah, the quick point here is let's look at the timeline, right? Let's look at the timeline of Unity Party going to court and the argument they are making. Unity Party is making a 30 days argument. The election commission should publish the law 30 days before, but they are going to court in less than 30 days. It shows deception. If the Unity Party was serious about a 30-day argument, they would have gone to court long time to get the election commission a 30-day period. But they are just interested in chaos, cry baby noise maker. That's my point.
Thank you very much. And before we
Probably
take
they
a
were
break,
negotiating project.
before we take a break, let me get the final question to you, Mr. Freeman. I know you mentioned you said on the, you talk about the integrity of the election, how it's important as far as this final for registration road is concerned. Now we're 11 days away from the elections. Given the situation, let's say the elections commission publish the final registration roll 5 days to the election. When political parties complain that they do not have enough time to review that registration roll, do you think there's a possibility this election may be cancelled or postponed based on that? Mr. Freeman,
I beg your pardon. I think broke up. I didn't quite.
on the integrity of the election as far as this final registration roll is concerned, let's say the elections commission do not release this
I
voter
didn't
roll
really
in.
understand
I'm sorry.
the question. I don't think I heard the question. What is
If
in
the
fact the question?
can you hear me, Mr. Freeman? Are you with us?
Yeah, Derek. I think your line continues to break up. Can you succinctly tell me what?
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Can you hear me, Derek?
Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you. I think somebody lines between you and him. Somebody line is breaking
Derek,
up.
what is in?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, Councillor
But I
Freeman,
heard
can you hear
Derek.
me?
Yes.
Derek,
Let
yeah,
David.
Councillor Freeman, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sir.
Councillor Freeman, okay.
I can hear
The
you.
question Derek is asking you is why, if the National Elections Commission doesn't release the the final voter roll, does it mean what do you think, should it be the election should be postponed? And another question I wanted to ask you is that what is the significance of political parties perusing the final voter roll before the day of elections? What makes it important? What makes a perusal of the list important? Mr.
So
Freeman, you heard
let
me?
me address the first question: whether or
Okay.
not the election should be postponed. I heard you, and I'm going to answer both questions. I'm certainly in no position to determine whether or not an election should be postponed in Liberia. I'm in no
that's
position
not
to do
even.
so. But what I will say is that we, as a country, have to adhere to the rule of law. The rule of law is very critical for our country. So if the law has certain requirements in place, the National Election Commission plays an important role into our democracy. The national election has a duty to comply with the rule of law. If, in fact, the national election should have produced the final registration roll for inspection, in fact, I think from reading something, it had to be at every magisterial district head office so that people can publicly inspect it, right? It undermines the integrity of the elections. But I don't want to go into, whether or not, what should happen if they don't do so. I think it's up to the courts to decide that. The parties have the court. What I will say is that we should always avail ourselves to the courts, just as the United Party did here. That's the best way forward. I will continue to encourage all political parties to continue to avail themselves to the court if they are unsatisfied. But in terms of whether elections should be postponed, that's something for the National Election Commission to decide, and it's something for the court to ultimately decide whether that's appropriate. That's not something I'm going to speculate into. Now, the importance of the registration roll, first and foremost, is because it's statutory. The law says that it has to be provided. But I think the second reason is because it allows the public, as well as political parties, to, see those who are registered within a particular district. Because keep in mind that Section 4.2 states that no more than 3,000 people within the district. Now, the way we determine how many people we have within the district is by actually having access to the registration roll. Because otherwise, you have a situation where, and I think my understanding was today, the Election Commission conceded a point that they have over 5,000 people within certain districts. Now,
You say it was an
that's why
oversight.
that registration rule is so
Precinct.
important, because
Precinct.
they say it was an oversight.
It's not district, but
And that is
precinct,
very
It was a precinct. It was a voting precinct, not a
precinct.
district.
not a district, but
Yeah,
precinct.
but next year was an oversight.
They have more than 5,000 people in the precinct. Okay, in the precinct. But ultimately, that's why that rule is so important, because it allows the public as well as political parties to have access to that document, to inspect that document. Because the law also said that it should be an inspected document. It should be provided to the people to inspect it if they want to inspect it. So it's important, and anything short of that creates confusion. Anything short of that could bring into question the legitimacy and the integrity of the elections.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Freeman, and to all of you panelists for your position and your take on this subject. We will now take a very brief break, and when we come back, we will get right into talking about all around politics in Liberia. And Mr. Freeman, you're free to stay if you want to stay for our next round of discussion. So we will get right into politics in Liberia. Councillor Gonglo Amy at Unity Party Standard Bearer explaining the role of the VP. VP Waka vowed to end Liberia if election is rigged. We will be playing
Derek,
that
if I
video.
may
And
interject.
President Weah campaign in Lofa
Derek.
County, JMB backyard, and claiming that election is not won on Facebook. David, did you have something to say?
No, Derek.
Yes, so guys, if you're watching us, this is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yale, and we are here with episode 4, season 4 of The Horizon. But for now, we'll take a very brief break. When we come back, we'll get right into our next discussion. I'll see you after the break.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Jilipa Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lrtn Africa LLC. Lrtn Africa started as an employment agency that sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to go to start life in this great country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, or rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Lrtn Africa. Lrtn Africa is the place to be.
And I'm playing host here tonight. I'm with my co-host, Mr. David Tarkley, and we're here with a team of panelists, Mistress Grace Ward, Mr. Yahaya Talata Sharif, Lodi Choppy Charlie, the Reverend Adi, and the General, Mr. Jai Winkin Wiagas. If you're watching us on Facebook, please do us a favor and share this program on your Facebook page, and also follow this network on Facebook and YouTube. That is the Liberia Radio and Television Network. So let's get right into our discussion for the night, all around politics. Let's watch the following video and videos, and then I will have you give your take on the first, the Gonglo aiming at Unity Party Standard Bearer, explaining the role of the vice. Let's watch that video first.
The vice president shall assist the president. It didn't say may assist the president. So when you sit down, you don't go assist the president, you want to benefit from that? That negligence of duty. They didn't say you may assist the president or the president may as the vice president. You are mandated by the people of Liberia to assist the president. You don't want to get any money.
Thank you very much, and
President,
let's
what do we have
just
on the
watch
plate?
the
I suggest we do so
second
and so
video
and
real
so.
quick.
And you put it together that 30
Let's watch the video of the movement.
in 12 years time.
There you go.
You know, some people cannot say. They say when you pour water inside, you can't see it. The man, he eat 30 million US dollars. He says here, nothing to show. But then he come to you when you're even asking for something. He will tell you, when I get there, when I get there. Nobody can show you, say, Joseph Parker help me. So, your verse will open. But it doesn't mean Parker is the man that replaces Opon. The one that made me vex with Parker, if you insert something and the thing working, you will say, I resign. You can't chop the money, stay in a position for 12 years, because you want to lead or not, then you say, oh, the way the woman was doing it, I don't like it. You like it? Then give our $30 million back. Hey, I'm talking your man. Well, I want to be president of Liberia.
We can get the Tier 1 Congo video up.
Assist the president. It didn't say may assist the president. So when you sit down, you don't go assist the president, you want to benefit from that? That negligence of duty. They didn't say you may assist the president or the president may ask the vice president. They gave the authority. You are mandated by the people of Liberia to assist the president. You don't want to get any money and go to Madam President, what do we have on the plate? I suggest we do so and so and so. I suggest we do so. I think we need an emergency cabinet meeting on this topic and this topic. You won't do it. Then you say, I was just there. And the woman went and threw like brain in the hole. Me, I was just telling that, what did you do?
Thank you very much, guys. You watched the video, and that's the voice of the standard bearer of the Liberia's People's Party. And just for disclaimer, those videos are not the properties of the Liberia Radio and Television Network. I just want to put that out there. But you've seen the video. I want taking a dig at the former vice president. So let me bring it to you guys to give us your take. And again, guys, give us your take in the comment section. Those of you that are watching us, tell us what you think in the comment section. We'll make sure to highlight the comment on the screen for you. But I would like to start with Mr. David Takwe. You're playing co-host with me. Let me get your take first. And guys, I will be watching the time because we are actually behind time. So give me 30 seconds to each.
Derek asking me to give my take, and I would suggest that I'll be stepping my foot in the political shoes.
No, that's not what I mean. I'm sorry. Just tell us what you think about it.
Well, you know, during elections time, the participants, most especially the candidates or the contestants, would always engage each other that way because they got to speak on your weak point. They got to speak on what will put you down. They're not going to speak to elevate your interest. They're going to speak to put your interest down. So that's what exactly politicians do to each other. Even if you listen to Joseph Walker speaking, he will say things that will, reduce George Weah's chances. If you listen to Tiawan Gonglo wants to win. Simeon Freeman wants to win. So you don't expect them, Derek, to speak good about Joseph Walker or speak good about George Weah or speak good about Dr. Monimba because they all want to win. And if you're somebody in the race, most especially if maybe you and a friend or colleague chasing a girl or a woman, the possibility that your opponent will tell that woman that you're chasing that you can pee on bed or you are broke.
Thank you,
So
David.
in my view, those talks are political talks, and let's leave it with the panelists that gave their independent views on
That is correct. Now with that,
what. So that what I'd like for us to start with uh, a day two's a day, since he's from the United Party and he fed the punches through just now by Tiawan Gonglo. Am I correct
Well,
that
thank you,
he
Franklin.
fed? Am I correct that he fed the punches from
go
Tiawan
ahead,
I
Gonglo?
Reverend
heard
Addy.
them.
A
I
minute and
heard
30
them.
seconds. A minute and 30 seconds, Reverend Addy.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, I certainly saw two political candidates that did not sell a vision to the Liberian people, but instead chose to mislead them. So let's be very clear about the Honorable Joseph Boyka's record. Under Madam Ellen Johnson's Shirley, he was in charge of the One Health program, characterized by agriculture, health, the environment, and animal farming. That program alone brought over 30 million US dollars to Liberia. Under Joseph Imam Boyka, he was also in charge of the Regional Drug Disease and Control Program. That program brought over 50 million US dollars to Liberia. He further was in charge of the Youth Empowerment Program, in which the Honorable Eugene Langley, who currently works as the campaign manager for George Weah, was in charge of that program. The Youth Empowerment Program. Today, the youth are being devastated by drugs and infestation and proliferation of ghettos around our country. The EU gave this government $1 million for the youth, but cannot absolutely be accounted for. So make no mistake, it's certainly politics, but we will not tolerate people misleading Liberian people by trying to impugn the character of Joseph Imabweka, who has in fact dedicated his life to the socio-economic and reconstruction of Liberia. He is well known for his impact in agriculture. He is well known, certainly, for his contribution to Liberia when Lofa was a breadbasket, followed by Zlekipma County and as well as Nema County. So make no mistake, in the last 12 years, today Liberia has an MRI
Thank you.
machine and a CT
Thank you.
scan. All of this happened as
Thank
evidenced
you,
by the personal let me finish,
thank
please.
you.
By the personal statement of Dr. Talbot Yimswa, who worked meticulously with Joseph Imamboyka.
Thank you
Thank you.
very much. Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Now let me get your take. Upload your choppy Charlie. Give us your take.
Derek, don't you think we should ask the Mr. Ade one or two questions before we go to the next?
I want to first get everyone
Okay,
take on it,
okay,
and then we can
Derek.
go around and start asking questions. But we'll come back to you, Reverend Addy. But let me get your take. Upload your choppy Charlie.
Yeah, I think the commentary from Tiawan Gonglo and Simon Fremont are not political talks, as they will try to characterize it. These are hard facts that exposes the strong dishonesty of Joseph Boakai and weak integrity of Joseph Boakai. And it goes even to the very question we discussed earlier about the Unity Party case. They took to court. The elections law that the Unity Party is now arguing against today, which they were asking the Supreme Court to change the wordings, was passed in 2014. It was only the Unity Party government that law was passed. At that time, the entire legislatures were dominated by the Unity Party. They had a majority in the Senate. They had a majority in the legislature. They passed those laws to favor them. And the Elections Commission practice of conducting election was based on those very law. So we see the deeper deception of Joseph Boakai. After passing his bad laws, today is pretending that he's a decent man. And so Gonglo's statement is true. Simon Freeman's statement is true. This character has contributed nothing to Liberia except chaos, and he's proven it today by his threat of the state. You want to wreck the nation.
Thank you very much, Bloody Choppy Chatty. Now I have a couple of questions for you, Reverend Addy and Bloody Choppy Chatty. But let me take you, Mr. Score. Give us your take on the video you've just seen. Tiawan Gonglo accusing the former vice president of negligence of duty during his time as vice president, and he also saw the video of Simon Freeman. Go right ahead, Mr. Score.
And that is the reason with the politics in Liberia, where instead of the political leaders coming to actually tell the people what they can do for them, what they can do for Liberia, what they will be able to bring to the children, the generations to come, they just sit there and they throw jobs. And that's the reason why Liberians miss the mark. They vote wrong. most of the time, because of these things, there's the people fighting among themselves, and they say the best person who fought, then they gave them the presidency. And the people who were able to bully them, they gave them the presidency. And that's the reason why I'm here to tell Liberian people, change your direction. You see the t-shirt I have on? Dr. Moneyba is the next president of that bureau. The reason is that the Moneyba strategy is very different. He does not throw jobs at anyone. Dr. Moneyba is the direction to a new Liberia. He is the direction to a new Liberia. His plans are there, laid out on his website. He goes from village to village. To yesterday or today, I think it was yesterday, Dr. Moneyba was saying two zone where the former president came from in Grand Judea County, telling the people what he's able to give for Liberia, what he's able to do for Liberia, his plans, his vision for the country. He is not here throwing jobs at people and talking all kinds of things that is not necessary about their family life, about who they he's not that kind of person. Liberian people should now be able to focus on what like the candidate can do for the country and what they will be able to take Liberia to the next level to compare or maybe even be better than the other West African countries instead of them passing throwing jobs and they themselves are corrupt. And that's my point here.
Thank you, Mrs. Goad. Now let's come to. I have a question for you as well, but let me take Mr. Weir. Your party standard bearer, Councillor Gonglo, accused the former vice president of negligence of duty, amongst other things. And Simon Freeman, you just saw the video. What is your take? What is your take on those videos?
Okay, thank you, Derry. Leadership is about teamwork, especially when it comes to the president and the vice president. So what Gonglo was pointing out in that piece is that like he did when he was Minister of Labor, he made several suggestions to the Salif government. Salif didn't agree on some of these things, so he decided to resign as a means of protest. That what he's saying in short is that you can sit by and say, well, it is only the president who has to do all this survey. So while Gonglo is saying that, what was the suggestion to President Salif instead of putting all the blame on Salif? That's what he's saying that in that video. Look, our country is in the mess. As listen to Bro J, especially the sedition, always giving excuses. The Liberian people put you to power because they believe the past politicians failed them. But when you came to power, you became the worst person. Things are very terrible in the country. We got a lot of people in the street, drugs. You get a lot of maritime money. You can use that money to improve the lives of these people. You got money from maritime, Rabat International Airport. You got only one single port. You got Greenville Port. You got all the other ports. They need to be renovated by the resources of the country.
Thank you.
Only one place, and we are giving excuses. We are supporters are blindly supporting, and that is wrong.
Thank you very much, Mr. Weir. Now let me take you to General. Give us your take on this the two videos that were just played.
Okay, I listened to the tape. There's nothing strange that I heard. But one thing I want to say, I listen to everyone saying that we speak to the issues, speak to the issues. If we're talking about speaking to the issues and do not attack another candidate, Mr. Cummings has a very good record for that, because I've never one day heard Mr. Cummings attacking any of the candidates. And since 2017, he has been preaching his 5 whats and how. He always speak on policy issue, how to and create jobs and how to do other stuff. So he never one day, but I'm surprised that nobody on this platform heard it. So if we're talking about that, Mr. Cummings is at the top because he came in 2016 and been saying it, but they're all good candidates. But what I took from the video is that there's a problem with the UP. Mr. Moneyba is saying that I am the change. We cannot go back to the past 12 years. Mr. Gonglo is saying that I am the change. We cannot go back to the past 12 years. That is the same thing Freeman Seymour is saying. And guess what? All these people are going to take vote from United Party. So I don't know what they're talking about. The the first round victory or even the CDC. But I would say this: the CDC and the Unity Party, they are no good for Liberia. Let's be honest. But when you look at it, the next guy will say, but I need to face in the CDC. So I'm saying that Mr. Cummings can make a better case against CDC than the Unity Party. I want to really know how Unity Party going to really make the case against Joshua, because if you talk about four auditors dying, Joshua will turn it right back on you and say, well, you killed 2 the other day and we don't know what. If you talk about schools, Joshua will put it right back on you. So only a new candidate for change can make the case. So what we are saying that Unity Party is not the face. As much as I support Mr. Cummings, I want a change, and I'm prepared to compete with the Beslo, the Monimba, the Gonglo. We want to compete. But if Unity Party is saying that they are the change for Liberia, then no, we are not prepared to go backward in the last 12 years, because we know what happened. So that is what that tape is telling you, that everybody, but only Mr. Cummings or we the one can criticize you guys. But I've never wanted heard Mr. Cummings throwing a real jab. He speak on the issues.
Thank you very much, the general. Now let's take you, Mr. Sheriff.
Gongolo is the best.
Right. So thank you so much. Yeah. Since I got 1 minute 30 seconds, I got to make a better use of it.
Go ahead.
Right. So look, Gongolo hit the nail right on the head. Even though he has his own problem that I might come to later on, but he hit the nail right on the head. The vice president has all along told us that he was a oak truck parked in the garage. And you came and the law states that the vice president shot. And this is what people are not paying attention to.
Yes.
It didn't say may. You can be left for your own discretion. You say, I may do that, I may not do that. But when they say shot, that means it's incumbent on you by law. By law. That's what Gonglo was saying. By law, the vice president had no excuse to say he was parked in the garage. And you understand? So be there to assist the president. So if that was not done, then it was due to his negligence of duty. That's one part. And then the next thing he's talking about, he's saying that where I live on loan. That man made over $30 million when you're vice president of the bureau, his office budget. So it ought to be 2 things. He either is very wasteful, he can't keep money, or he's very stingy. Because if you made that much money and you keep telling people that you're getting loan from the bank, we can't trust Liberia to you, because you are not responsible to be able to handle finances. And he has said, admitted to that. He said they squander opportunities. They may have already told you the kind of person he is. How will you want to elect somebody who has told you this is the kind of person I am? So we know that. If somebody talk about the proliferation of drugs, that thing started from the early Johnson Sirleaf time.
Thank you.
And you understand? I'm watching my time. I mean, I still get 15 seconds. I'm watching my time, right?
You said 1 minute 30 seconds.
1 minute 30 seconds. I'm watching it. I'm watching my wagon, man.
It's been done.
No, but that you be unfair to me, because I'm watching my time. It's not possible. I'm watching my time, right? Don't be. Yeah, don't do that.
I don't know when
your time for right.
I don't know when you started your clap, but I started when he started speaking. Go ahead, I'll give you 50 seconds, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So the drug issue they're talking about, you know, when people start sleeping at the graveyard in our place, I'm not defending what is happening now, but I'm telling you, during the Ellen Johnson regime, when Tewan Gonglo was Solicitor General of Liberia, how many people did he prosecute for corruption in Liberia? When he was labor minister, how many good labor?
Thank you very much.
Law that they put in place that affect people. So let's not sit there and just try to fool us here. We know all of these things. Thank you. We'll get to some of them later on in the conversation.
Derek, can I make one correction, please? Just one correction to. I want him to straight. Okay, Gonglo was Gonglo did not resign. No, Gonglo did not resign from the Ellen government. They were all fired, and she called him back, and he refused to come back because he felt that Ellen should not just fire everybody and then try to bring it back. So don't say he resigned. He did not resign.
He was fired and called back.
Every one of them were fired. All the ministers were fired.
They said all the ministers, yeah.
And she tried to bring them back. Yes. And when they called him back, he said no, he was not coming.
Not coming back. But he did not resign.
Did you know about that, Mr. Weir?
He knows about it. No. He was fired. On record, he was fired.
That's not resignation.
Guys,
he was fired. They were all disgraced.
On record, he was fired.
Let's bring this show to order. Mr. Reverend Adi, I have a question for you in reference to the general statement. he talked about the candidates with new idea. They represent a mantle of change, and he mentioned Moneybat selling that as well, as well as Kome, as well as Gongo. And he don't see the Unity Party selling that same change during this campaign period. Do you have a reason for that, or you're not agreeing with him?
So let me borrow from the words of Mr. Alexander Cummings. He said past performance is the best indicator for future performance. So when you look at the past performance of the Unity Party under the leadership of Joseph Imamboyga, we've paved over 800 and some more kilometers of roads. We've liquidated your debts. We've rebuilt your hospitals, your schools. Under this present leadership, we find ourselves drowning in debt, filthy city. Our youth have been devastated, the future of our country. It's very clear that the past performance of the past government, Unity Party, under the direct leadership of Joseph Imamboyga and the programs he managed, which I just stated to you all, that becomes the very reference for a future performance. You know, I would rather a parked car and a sleeper who, while sleeping, brought $30 million to Liberia. While sleeping, managed the regional for disease control that brought $50 million to Liberia. While sleeping, as they claim, and while parked, invested his time, energy, and expertise to the welfare of this republic that we are fighting for today. I don't want to see him when he wakes up to clean up the mess that CDC has caused this country. International disgrace, 3 sanctions in the government. A president that builds 48 houses squander his personal wealth as a football player. A president that does not work, in fact, told the people in Bapolu and other parts of the interior that all those who are around him got money today because he built in people, and he's absolutely right. A president who harmonizes the salaries of civil servants that they got a way to struggle to eat. Our young boys and girls aren't in school. The LU students are constantly demonstrating. Teachers are being held back from pay under this government who has no regards for the well-being of the people. And that is why when this parked car and sleeper gets up, it's going to be trouble. Liberia will change and take a different trajectory. But the future you're asking us for has no record in the likes of those they are recommending now. Thank you
very much,
And I want you to be careful of the time, because that was almost 3 minutes. And I didn't hear you interrupted though. So I just want you to know, Derek.
I never talked for 3 minutes.
I got it right here. About 3 minutes. Derek, so you got to be fair in this thing here. You got to be fair, brother.
I'm recording.
I'd like to ask Reverend Ade a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
And Derek, don't succumb to pressure. Stand your ground. If you say 1 minute, 1 minute. Don't let people intimidate you succumb to. Yeah.
Across the board, though.
Reverend Ade, critics say
yes, sir.
Joseph Boakai is a man who doesn't want to take responsibility of the shortcomings of the Ellen government, but only wants to take the credit for the good things the Ellen government did. So if Joseph Boakai is a man who's running from, taking the blame, but wants the credit according to his critics, what makes him the best choice for the presidency when he's shying away from taking responsibility according to his critics?
Can you answer that in a minute?
Right. So that statement is factually false, because the last time I checked, it was Joseph Boakai who spoke truth to the people of Liberia. And he stated, Liberians, when we were leading you, we could have done more, but there was a missed opportunity. That's the kind of leader I'm looking for. What makes him the best is that he has put forth a plan: agriculture, roads, education, sanitation, and tourism. And we have given you 6 pillars. First of all, when we come to power, this government that has squandered the wealth of the Liberian people with a president that builds 48 houses, our 6th pillar is to work on retrieving the international bank accounts and stolen wealth and properties that have been built throughout the countries by these people that came from living in 1-bedrooms, while the young boys and girls of Liberia languish in poverty, while civil servants and the medical workers cannot work to have a daily meal under this government. Poverty is at an all-time high because of its rampant corruption. He has disgraced us by selling our passports, drug infestation, over
My
800 ghettos.
my next
In
question go to
Montserrat
Blue
County
Jay
alone.
and
Look
Thank
at the
you, thank you,
DA report.
thank you
Over
very much,
300 ghettos.
Reverend Addy, thank you very much. Your next question to
Derek.
Bloche.
Derek, my
Go ahead.
next question to Blue Jay and Sharif. There are many
Go ahead, and
Liberians and
I'll keep the time
yeah,
the general.
there are many Liberians and critics of the CDC who say that the CDC is more critical of Joseph Walker than any other candidate in the race because the CDC sees Joseph Walker as a potential threat to a second term of office.
I couldn't agree with the CDC more. And that is why they
That was a
criticizing
question
Joseph
for
Boyka.
That's not, not a question for you, Reverend.
Okay.
Yeah,
question
yeah.
is for
I thought that I would have had a chance to comment on the discussion first before answering question.
I was
But
going to come when you said you had a question.
I will answer the question. The CDC does not see Bwaka as a formidable candidate. And what is happening here is Bwaka is confusing the political discussions with divisiveness, with hatred, with bitterness and revenge, as you can hear from even Ade himself. We would have loved to have an intelligent conversation with the other candidates like Cummings, like Gonglo, like Simon Fremont, like Moniba, to talk about the issues that concern Liberia. That George Weah has built more community roles than Joseph Baka United Party. George Weah has built more new roles than Joseph Baka United Party. That education under the United Party was a mess. And today you have students passing wise every year as opposed to Unity Party where students were failing wise every year. We want to discuss this issue. We want to talk about the free tuition at the university. We want to talk about the new hospitals that have been built with the government of Liberia own money. We want to talk about the kind of facility that has been for the first time we have different kinds of equipment. These are the kind of things we want to talk. But the Unity Party is creating chaos in the political space.
Thank you, Bloche. And I'll ask you a question and then give you the opportunity to rebuttal, like you said you had, or some comments to address. Now, quick question though. Just follow up to David's question. Given the list of presidential candidates, who do you think pose more risk to the CDC re-election? And kind of this election, is it JMB, is it Moneybat, Tiawan Gongo, or Cummings? Who do you think? Who is CDC more worried about?
Look, I can tell you very freely and without tripping that we would really love to have a good political debate. The CDC would have loved to discuss about development of Liberia.
Who poses the most threat?
There's no threat. CDC? That's what I'm saying. There's no threat. There's no threat here. So there's no threat because look, the reality here is that and we have to be honest about this. When you had a united opposition, and we saw the evidence in the 2020 midterm elections, when guys like Cummings and other people decided to put their resources together to have a united opposition, that was a threat to the CDC. But because of the Unity Party entitlement mentality and the deception and dishonesty, they crippled that process and damaged it. So, I mean, we are just marching to victory in these elections.
Thank you.
So Bloje, follow up. Why don't you think that in case of a run-up election, probably between Jawia and Joseba, why don't you think that the opposition's political party that fragmented as a result of the Unity Party will come together to go against the CDC?
No, we are not worried about facing the Unity Party any day. We'll be very happy, were it not because of the conditions of Liberia, were it not because we wanted George Weah to build most roads, were it not because we wanted a better education, improvement in the education sector. It's not because we wanted these things. We'll pray to face Joseph Baka in the second round. We'll pray for that to happen so that we can defeat him more than what we did. But because we want a better Liberian, we don't have the time to face off with Joseph Baka. We want to win on the first ballot. The waste of Liberian time to face a defeated candidate, a man who has been defeated before, and a man who was already defeated and he created chaos in the country. He's a loser.
Thank you, Bloje. We're running out of time, so let's move to our next bulletin point here, and that is the Vice President and Joseph Boakai
But we're not going to make a comment because you
I'm
just
going
jump like that.
I'm sorry, Jen. I'm
And
going to come to you. I'm going to come to you. Let me just play this video, and I promise to come to you
oh,
next. I just want
okay.
for us to put a bulletin point, then we can have the discussion. But let's watch this video of the former vice president.
Protected. If you think they will see this election, you will not lie. Because if you do it, that's the end of this country. And we're not going to allow that to happen.
And again, guys, just for the sake of disclaimer, that video is not a property of the Liberia Radio and Television Network. But let me come right to you. You have a rebuttal of the general, and then you can also give us a take on that particular video, because, and I have to say, the former vice president appeared on a media institution and clarified that statement, but we can still take a take on that. The general, give us your rebuttal and then your take on that video.
Yeah, okay. I just want to say something to the Reverend. You know, for the last 17 years, the Liberians saw UP and CDC going through tussle. So the UP believe that they only make the case to just to attack we are or whatsoever. But there are other 18 parties in this race. And for us to get in by default, George Weah is in the second round. So we are telling the Liberian people that the UP can never make the case. We can make the case. We can fight President Weah on the change and tell him some of his wrongdoing. The Unity Party will not do it. And one thing I want to make clear here, whatever I said, talk about Mr. Cummings is something that he himself talk about. You can better sell yourself than another person. What I heard the Reverend talking about healthcare and whatsoever, it never happens nowhere. There is no record, and I want him to show me the link that I can go to and read about Mr. Boakai. Mr. Boakai never articulate or explain his plans, but Mr. Cummings have been explaining his plans over and over. 2017, it was ARA, then it went to ARTS, then it went to AREST. So I don't know which one. Mr. Boakai have never sat down on any radio to explain. Only the supporters, like the Reverend, he explained it so well, and to your surprise, you're not on the ballot. We voted for Mr. Boakai, who refused to answer questions when he go to a radio station because he cannot explain his plan. Another one on the tape.
Thank you so much. You have exhausted a minute 30 seconds on that. Now, Reverend Adi, would you like to respond to the general? He challenged you, and he challenged some of the information.
Most definitely. Thank you kindly. You see, unlike me as a surrogate, my friend and brother Maniki Shin, I don't spend time attacking. I also read about Mr. Cummings' plan. JoeBoycott.com is where we have our plans. It's because we've come so entrenched in the toxicity of politics, so we don't learn to study other candidates. But I didn't grab that from my head when I was talking about the 6 plans of the ambassador Joseph Imam Boakai.
Can I correct you again? What you said? No. I just want to take you back to what you said. I don't want to jump in the middle. That's all. You said Joseph Boakai brought X amount of that millions to the government when he was vice president. I said, where can I go and see it?
I was coming to that.
Okay. I just.
No problem. Thank you for the courtesy. And by the way, thank you for the compliment that I so articulately explained his plan. But you see, what I just explained to you, I did not take it from the sky. I read it. It's on the internet, joeboycott.com. You can go and read our plan and vision for Liberia. But let's be very clear. I would certainly recommend you to talk to Dr. Talbot Yinswa, the Ebola Czar of Liberia, who stated very, very, very articulately that he worked with Joseph Boakai, and he described him as a man that was very meticulous. He managed the following programs under Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. The One Health program. That program alone brought $30 million to Liberia. These are the words of Dr. Thomas Yinswa, our Ebola Czar. Secondly, he also stated that under Joseph Boakai, he managed the regional disease control program. That alone brought over $50 million to Liberia. He also managed the Prevail program that had to do with the public-private partnership with the international community that, in fact, facilitated drugs in Liberia. And then finally, the Youth Empowerment Program. that brought $15 million, $10 million to Liberia. So these facts are there, and go ask Dr. Thomas James why he wrote a book. He's articulated them very well, who worked closely with the Honorable Joseph Boyka. And finally, Derek, let me state here for a fact, as an individual responsible for agriculture, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in 2008 received the Seremidal Award from the United Nations Food and Agriculture
over 2
Director
minutes,
Jacques Diop.
Reverend Addy, thank you very much, and let me thank you. You have exhausted over 2 minutes, Reverend Addy.
Thank you. No problem.
Let me get to
No
you,
problem.
Sherry. You just watched the video of the former vice president claiming to end Liberia in if the elections is rigged. What do you make of that statement as far as the election is concerned?
That statement shows desperation. It shows the former vice president does not have anything to offer the Liberian people, and the former vice president has already sensed his defeat in a ensuing election. So the only thing, like I said earlier, they're trying to sow this seed of misinformation to the Liberian people, so tomorrow they can come, they come and harvest it to say, yeah, we lost the election, but you're based on cheating. How can you, former vice president that was vice president for 12 unbroken years, be advocating the kind of way he advocated? He said that would be the end of our nation if he happens to lose the election. Because if he loses the election, then that means the election was not free and fair. The only time it becomes free and fair when he wins the election, which will never happen. So it only shows you the vice president is reckless in his utterances, and the vice president has seen that or have sensed that he will lose the election. That being apart from the point, the Reverend is trying to defend the indefensible here. He says something, the vice president is saying something. He said that the vice president garnered in but over $30 million and this. And the vice president has told us, the Liberian people, that he did not do anything. He was an old car part. He never had the opportunity to do anything. So who do we believe? Do we believe the man who was vice president and told the Liberian people that I never had the opportunity to do anything because I was just an old car parked in the garage? The president did everything. Now the Reverend wants us to believe that what the vice president said was not true. So who do we believe, the Reverend or Joseph Barker?
Thank you very much, Sheriff. And guys, we have exhausted all of the time we have for this segment. So if you have more, if you have more to this discussion, you can
yeah, I just want to add just 30 seconds, maybe.
You can say that in your closing remark because we still have one more segment to do on the show, and then we will take your closing. So I'm sorry we have exhausted the time for this, but let's take a very brief break. When we come back, we'll get right into our icebreaker round.
Hi, my name is Martha Tomley, owner of Matisia Natural Hair Salon, located on 4405 Chestnut Street. We are specializing in locks, natural hair, braids, and etc. Call us for all your natural hair needs. You can reach out at 267-703-2330. If you have pictures or videos you want to send us, you can send it to 267-224-0693.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Wherever you're joining us from, you're here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. I'm playing host tonight on the Horizon season 4, episode 4. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. David Tarkler, and a team of panelists, Mr. Jai Winkin. We are the General, Mr. Sheriff, Bloody Choppy Charlie, and Reverend Adid. We've had a very interesting conversation here tonight on this episode. But it's not time that we transition right into our icebreaker round. And if it is your first time being with us for the icebreaker round, this is where we take a break from everyday politics in Liberia and the diaspora and talk about something outside of politics. And the question we have for our icebreaker round today is actually a very interesting one. What is your favorite fruit? And I'll go around. You can talk to us about your favorite fruit. And then after that, I'll give you guys the opportunity to give your closing. So, Mr. Tarquin, what is your favorite fruit before I go to one of the panelists?
Cucumber.
Why is that?
Because
I mean, you don't necessarily have to explain it.
yeah, because it has a water in it, and it's good for it's good to it has water in it, and it helps you from dry skin and others.
Yep.
Thank
Yeah,
you thank you
I
very
said I,
much.
I love it.
What about you, Mr. Weir?
I eat
What is
apple
your
a lot.
favorite fruit? Huh?
Apple.
Apple. Apple a day keep the doctor away, I guess. Go to choppy choppy.
I don't really have a favorite fruit, but I think I see myself eat more grapes. Yeah, probably.
Sheriff, Mr. Sheriff.
Watermelon. That's the only food I'm not allergic to. Every other food will eat my
I
mouth here. Watermelon.
share that with you, Mr. Sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love watermelon. The general, what is your favorite fruit?
It's watermelon, but only the one with the seeds because the one without seeds, they itch my ears. And I
Yeah.
gotta take the one with seeds in it. It's better off, but the one without seeds, forget it.
Is that
But
what?
all the other fruits
Reverend
and the
Addy.
watermelon is a good. It's a good fruit.
Reverend Addy, what is your favorite fruit?
Sherma
Thank
plum.
you.
Sherma plum.
You guys on here, America there? You want some here? I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna bring it for you.
I
We can
appreciate
squeeze
that.
it.
But guys, it's
They got
been
it, bon candy.
I
it's
know,
been
right?
guys.
Just
Thank you.
wasting around.
Thank you all for your contribution on the icebreaker round. Now let's get back to business. It's been a very interesting exchange here tonight. We've talked about a lot of things, including the statement from the Secretary of State
Thank
office
you.
to those on visa restriction, those that undermines the elections process. And we went ahead talking about the rate issue to this against the Elections Commission by the Unity Party. And we just talked about all around politics in Liberia, especially the statement from uh, Liberian People Party Senate Bearer, Councillor Congo, Mr. Simeon Freeman, the Movement for Progressive Change, and also the statement from Ambassador Boaka. Now let me give you guys the opportunity. I have 6 minutes to when we should draw the curtain to this show. So you guys each have a minute and 30 seconds. I will be watching the time. A minute and 30 seconds to give us your closing on this episode and program tonight. Let me start with you, Mr. Sheriff. Give us your take on this episode. Your final words.
Thank you so much. I'm just re-echoing what the our President Weah has been doing, and I've been telling the Liberian people, this government, the CDC-led government headed by President George Weah, has been doing a lot for the Liberian people. Like Blue Jay right there, put it. Look around you, see all the road construction, the feeder roads you see around here. Look at the road from Ganta to Sanikude, from Sanikude going to Lugatu. Look at the road from Sanikude, from Ganta going to my mother's hometown, Sakliti. Those that live on that side, from Sakliti going to Tapeta. Look at the road that is being constructed in that corridor. Look around Monrovia. Look all the various corners of Monrovia. Look there and see the road construction that have been going there. But before then, when kids go to school, you see them standing in the water to get on the motorcycle to go. Now today, you don't find that happening in Monrovia. Besides that, look at the recreational center the government is doing just to alleviate some of the stress on people taking their family to recreational centers. Look at the hospitals that are being built to help to deliver good healthcare system in Liberia. The government has sent people, a professional, to go and learn and come and train other nurses in Liberia just to improve our healthcare delivery system. Look at the educational system in Liberia, where the government is paying students tuition, and not only that, paying wire fee for the family. So I see people sometimes they want to play indifference to the wire fee that has been paid. But look at a family that cannot afford to pay their child a wire fee and go and tell them, say what the government is doing is not right. So the government is doing a lot, and so many more the government is doing. So I'm asking the Liberian people, you want to go back to the 12 years of, like the revenue say, somebody bringing in $30 million and squandering over $3 billion, that system you want to go back to? Or you want to come to the system that Liberian is being developed on?
Thank you.
Not somebody who said, yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Sheriff. Let's now come to
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Weah, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah. Give us your take on this program, your final words.
Thank you, Darren. Fellow Liberians, our country is not poor. We have only one or two problems. And we are one nation, bounded by the identity of being a Liberian, regardless of your relationship with any political party or ethnicity. The problem of corruption and the corruption of selective rule of law. The two things are the enemies of Liberia. That is why you need somebody who can really take care of them. Whether you get all the money in the country from around the world, if the government is corrupt, the country will not develop. Your life will not improve. If the minister can do anything with file prosecution, things will still be worse. We have enough resources to make electricity and water to run in the homes, in the hospitals, in schools, in every house in Liberia. But we have corruption. It's killing us. Everybody will talk all what they are saying. Once there is a corruption, we'll have problem. Once there is problem with rule of law, we'll have problem. And there is only one candidate in this country or in this race. He's Tiawonse Gongo. He tells you it can even be his brother, his mother. You'll be like Tobo, who signed the death warrant with his brother. Now everybody will be prosecuted under the government of Gongo. People who giving you money, who doing everything, you need to earn your own money. Gongo is going to make sure that you go to school, you earn your own money, and you will not depend on anybody.
Thank you very much,
please
Mr.
vote Gongo for better Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jai Winkin Weah. Let me take you next, Lord Choppy Charlie.
Well, good night so far. Liberia is making progress. 12 years of Unity Party, doctors were making $700, mainly paid by international community. On a George Weah today, doctors are making about $3,000, almost $3,000 on a George Weah, with all international money. During Joseph Baga Unity Party, a master's degree holder, teacher at a university level, was making about $1,000. On a George Weah, that same master's degree teacher teaching at the public university is making more than $2,000. Improvement of governance. Today, on a George Weah, Liberia is collecting more revenue, domestic revenue, because of transparency and accountability. On a Unity Party, Joseph Baga Unity Party, we're collecting less revenue. Today, on a George Weah, there are more roads that have been built, roads that never existed before in the country. On a Unity Party, they only rehabilitate roads that were already existing. And we can name a lot of development in the country. Education. The students were failing every year on a Joseph Baga Unity Party. On George Weah, students are passing every year the exams. So what we have seen happening is governance improvement versus people want to take us backwards. And that's why George Weah are going to win these elections.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Blood Choppy Charlie. Mr. Reverend Addy, let me get your final words on this episode.
My fellow Liberians, you have here a lot of misinformation by this current government, but nobody can tell you the poverty you're currently experiencing under this government. To the civil servants of Liberia, your salaries were cut by this president. Today he flies private jet. He went to the southeast with a helicopter, even though he's a bad road medicine. When people are dying on the road that have no access to hospital in the
president
southeast.
has not gone to the southeast, misinformation.
Oh, please let me
President
finish,
Sterling,
sir.
Lima County.
Please let me
Bloche,
finish.
let's
Don't do
allow
that.
No, wait,
I'm gonna
offering
have to
lies.
start over.
let's allow
I'm
him.
gonna
President, I'm
have
not
to
going to
start
Lima.
over,
And sorry,
brother.
President Lima
I'm
right
gonna
now.
have to start over. I'm
Go
you
ahead,
know,
go ahead,
Bloje, come on. This is a civilized
go ahead,
platform. We
Reverend
can
Addy.
interrupt.
Reverend, let's
So,
protect.
my
Let's
fellow Liberians, allow me to start over again. They're asking you to vote for them, but you certainly know the poverty that you are experiencing in Liberia. To my civil servants, brothers and sisters, your salary has been cut, whilst your president built 48 houses and more. Make no mistake, you are in a dire strait. Vote number 2. They boast all the time that they've given you education. But you know what? We don't need handouts from this government. We want people to work and earn their own money and not cut their salaries. Look at our young boys and girls being victimized by this government that has bought $140 million worth of cocaine in this country. Is that the Liberia you used to know? Our young boys and girls are selling on the street. People are dying. Melvin Early shot 3 times in the head. Extra killings of auditors. You are living behind bars in your own home because of the Zogo's proliferation of ghettos and drugs throughout the country. Is that the Liberia you want? Not under this president. Don't let him lie to you. For 5.5 years, he has not spoken to you, but now wants to ask you to put him back for the next 6 years. Don't make that mistake, my people. Liberia deserves better. We don't want a country that our passports are being sold to foreigners to bring drugs in Liberia. This is what Bloje and the rest of my friends and brothers shouting muya muya. They are keep pushing. Your country deserves better. You are the future of Liberia. Don't let George Weah deceive you. His wealth is only for him and those in government.
Thank you
Make
very
the
much.
right choice.
Thank you
Joseph
very
Boyka.
much. Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Thank you for your closing remark. Now let's take our final panelist for closing remark. The general. This is your debut episode, so I gave you the honor to go last. So give us your final remark. Are you with us, the general? You
General, hearing is you.
I don't think
General,
General
are you
is
there?
hearing.
I think the phone froze. General in Liberia, so the phone froze.
What a timing!
Is he in Liberia?
Oh my God. Yeah, General in Liberia. He in Monrovia. He got it 3 days ago.
Let's give the general a couple of seconds.
Oh my God.
But meanwhile, Bloje give you clear.
So let me go here. Progressive Unity Party. 2070, Joseph Brother was flying helicopter and night 20,000 helicopter.
I'm not gonna let you talk, man. That was a high punch I gave you, so you gotta
We
calm
went in
down, Bloje.
2017 Brother flew
You
helicopter
gotta calm
campaigning
down,
today
Bloje. You gotta
crying
calm down.
about somebody.
Bloje,
His
you're not
honesty
gonna
is
keep
too high,
speaking, but
Unity
they're not gonna
Party.
hear you. We asked you to speak once, and you spoke.
Bloje,
Allow
with all
other
the
people
mess
to
in our
speak.
country, you prison that government, you
Thank
get it?
you. Please allow other
With all
people
the
to
mess
speak,
in our country,
Bloje.
you prison
You've
the government,
already
Bloje?
spoken.
You flew in helicopter 2017. Now you're crying about helicopter.
Mr. Chappy Chala, you've already
Talk about
spoken.
driving in
The fact
Monrovia.
remains that we have just
Do you let it driving
uncovered
in
the
Monrovia
corruption of your government. And the truth remains that we will have
The
to vote
president
you
is
out
currently
because
in Lima
Liberia deserves
and
better.
offering
Liberia
on
deserves
truth that
better.
the
You
president
cannot
is being
continue to
stopped. Peace
fearmonger,
flying helicopter.
misinform the Liberian people.
Bloje, give
The
me our
people,
money
the
until the
youth of
solution. People
Liberia
want to
deserves
earn
better.
their own money.
You do not
Why
able
can't
to
they get
finish
money
it.
and
You
earn their
need
own
to
money?
either sit
Joseph
in the
Brother have
present
a
capable
strong
and
house.
have
People
people
to
to
earn their own money, not hand out.
listen. No, Jay, you have to let your partners come in. Mr.
I
Derek,
mean,
would you take control of the
we're
platform?
using
Mr.
monetization
Derek,
time.
the seditious are trying to seize this platform like they plan to seize elections.
That's wrong.
Which hand out? Government has an
The
obligation.
seditious are
So
trying to seize this platform and
The
they are
public
planning to
assistance
seize
is hand
elections.
out.
Money. Mr.
you.
Kishen, seditious are trying to seize the platform as they want to seize the elections. That's what they do. That's what they're used
This is
to.
a result.
Casket and promoting violence.
What happened?
This is a
What
result.
they alarm. Now they want to seize
My
the
man,
platform.
hey, look, your CDC people hack my internet.
That you can have that you be
The
that
whole
happy.
box,
That's
the
what
whole
they
box,
do.
man.
They cannot have a debate.
The whole
They cannot
box
have a
went off.
debate, so they want to seize the
Okay,
platform.
I
Like they
know,
claim to
I
seize
know
the
the time have gone, but what I'm saying that UP and CDC are no good for Liberia. What CDC is doing today,
That's correct. I agree with you 100%.
they learn it from UP. There was corruption in UP government. CDC just upgraded the corruption. But let me tell the citizens, you promised us roads, you gave us some roads, but at the end of the day, we all driving in muddy roads because all the roads are breaking up. Not because you gave free tuition at the university. We do not have a free education in Liberia because from ABC to 12th grade, the students stay paying. Yes, we got free tuition at the LU, which I commend you for that, but it still do not warrant your re-election. Having a digital registration, it still do not warrant you re-election. We want jobs, security for our people. Corruption is the order of the day in this country. You have upgraded it so much, a wearing coat suit in the street, and our president is squandering a lot of money on himself. Today he's flying now to go camping with a nice helicopter, but it's good. He got the money, he can go ahead and do it. The road that he could not fix to go in the southeast, now he got to use helicopter to go to the southeast. You understand? So this is how we can make the case against CDC. And because CDC is afraid of us, UP is afraid of us, so they're going at each other. But I will tell my UP brothers, if you go against CDC, then I mean you really want to give George Weah maybe his second term. But any other candidate from Mr. Cummings, the Gonglo, the whatsoever, they are the best to make the case against CDC. I think it will be your best thing. We either keep the change or we move with the change. So we got the past, the present, and the future. We can't go backward. We know the record of the UP. Let's be friends. And at least, and we can't use the word at least. Let's move forward.
Thank you, General, for that, and thank you for joining us here today.
You see the president driving a car to go to the southeast.
Hey, my man, stop it, man. I must say, I'm looking for a helicopter to go to the southeast too.
You see the man driving. Don't worry. I will see him driving.
Where are you now, General?
Mr. Weah.
I'm in Liberia.
The General. Sheriff, Reverend Addy, thank you guys so much for.
Yeah, man. Good night. Good night.
David, I will see you. I will come to the office. I will see you, David.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much, man.
We are having a lot of fun in Nima County right now, man.
Chubby Charlie, you guys go ahead because I can see the momentum in Nima County is not
the momentum is strong.
The momentum is strong. Yeah, you guys keep doing a good job there. From the southeast, we take the entire country by storm.
Y'all do that
one round victory, Chubby. One round victory we get.
You know why they say one round? Let me tell you. Do you know why CDC say one round? Because some people, listen, some people say 2, some people say 4, but CDC can say 18, so they say 1.
They myself be after.
Okay. Derek? David, I'm not hearing you.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501cs in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tmit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Welcome back, viewers, wherever you're watching us from. Thank you for staying with us right to this end. It is almost time for us to draw the curtain to this episode. And of course, I play host here, and my name is Derek Yali, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. David Tarkby. We have just one more segment to bring you. That is the announcement from our announcement folder, and then we will take leave of you. And beginning with the All Immigration Lawyers Associations is having a Citizenship Day that is scheduled for the 30th of this month, 2023, as you can see it displayed on our screen. And the NPNA, National Partnership for New Americans. So the National Allies Citizenship Day, not 3023. Moving on, we have the Upper Darby International Festival. Go with the theme, the world in one place, and that is scheduled for September 30th as well, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it's p.m. I mean, free fun for all ages, music, food, and you name it will be there. 5 Points Intersection, and the address is 5 Points Intersection at 100 Garrett Row. You can find more. You can get more information on this event at this website, www.upperdarby.org festival. That is the Upper Darby International Festival. Moving on to our last and our final announcement we have is the NIMCO 2023 annual convention hosted by the PA chapter. So I'll read you the itinerary. Very briefly, Friday, September 29th is the meet and greet between 7 p.m. and 12 p.m. And also, the venue is at the Clarion Hotel in the Jefferson Room. And by way of announcement, this network, Lrtn, will be there to cover the dinner on the 30th of this month as well. So the red carpet and photos, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Guest arrival, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And the dinner served 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's all we have for you on in our announcement for that. Again, guys, my name is Derek Gallet and David Talkby. If you have any announcement, I will come to you. If not, or I will just bid goodbye to our viewers. Do you have any announcement?
Yeah, just want to thank Solo, Conan, and Daniel for the technical assistance that made the show a success.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
good night, Rick.
Thank you very much. The production team in Liberia and the production team here would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude for the job that you do behind the scene. We're just putting our faces to the camera, but you guys actually do the actual work. But against to those of you in the audience, we thank you so much. Without you, the show would not be possible. And we hope we'll see you on the next episode next Thursday at 8 p.m. right here on the Lrtn Facebook page and also on YouTube. So make sure if you haven't already followed this network, like, share, subscribe, and also encourage your friends and family to do the same. And we will make sure to bring you quality contents every Thursday at 8 p.m. Until then, I'd like to bid you a good night from the Lrtn family and the Hazo team as well. Again, the name is Derek Yale, and I'm here with my co-host, David Tarkman. We will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Until then, have a pleasant good evening.
Okay, sexy. Mary take it from Jebe, then Quebec from John, then Peter can take it from Paul. Fatuka sebo Kema, then Kema tuka sebo ho. Join the baby resemble, so how can she say it for Paul? You like Georgie and friend, like you I can sleep to your heart, like G's, but and I'm a more you yeah fun, like G's, but and I'm a more you yeah. But and I'm a cop you yeah for that Jesus. But and I'm a more you yeah for pastor eating a member, teacher eating a student. She loving the Sarahs, loving the Momo and loving the Clarence. She not said that in class, but she give Mr. Doja for Clarence. He owed you like that, but the papel loving the children. He say he got money with DBI, he still live with his parents. He enjoying America, but he can't say nothing for your children. Like G's, but and I'm a more you yeah for. Like G's, but